The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at talkrealsolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of talkrealsolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not talkrealsolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
All right. Welcome to the show. This is Talk Real Solutions, and I am your host tonight, Tyrone Thompson. I want to thank you for tuning in. Today is February the 1st, 2024, and I would normally invite you to go to talkrealsolutions.com, but I think, like I said, I'm going to get rid of that, so I'll direct your attention to the YouTube page, and there I will display the 3-point plan to Black empowerment to financial freedom. It has 3 points. The first point is to get together with like-minded people. The second point is to stop all unnecessary spending and save your money. The third point is, as a unit, invest or save your money in a verified and trusted institution. A great goal will be for you to open a Black-owned business. And then I don't know. I don't really, mess around with these websites so much or whatever, but I'll try to pretty it up and make it look different besides my ugly mug up there and the lion, probably throw the 3-point plan up there. But I mean, the top of the web banner gives you some information about what we do here. We don't turn away from hard questions or tough conversations, and we talk about hot topics, trending topics, social issues, news, politics, science, and religion. So that's a good description of the kind of conversation that we have over here, and that's exactly what we'll be doing tonight. And if you want to join the conversation, let me check my audio and make sure I'm on. All you have to do is call the number at 717-908-1834 and give us a ring, and I'll open your line here. I will get you on the mic. You can, talk about what we're talking about or insert your own conversation. You know how I do. It's not a big deal. I just ask that we respect each other and at least try to allow others to get their point of view across. Hold on. Why did it say stream finish? Yeah, at least allow others to try to get their point of view across and not yell and talk over each other. All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to get used to some new stuff here, guys. That's all that I'm doing. And we'll get into the show. I don't know. Well, there is some. What's up, Jermaine? There is some celebrity stuff that is going on. And honestly, this type of celebrity crap I don't even find interesting. There's a beef between Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj. And I'll just go ahead and tell you who's the best right quick. Nicki Minaj all day long. I like Megan Thee Stallion, but Nicki is she holds that record, But during this beef, it seemed like Megan Thee Stallion has a lot of support and all that kind of stuff. But I don't even know what they're beefing about. It's about like with her and Cardi B. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B was going at it. I don't know why they fight, why they argue. They're millionaires, and it just seems beyond me. why these people with all this money will spend a lot of time just doing childish things like beefing. So it is what it is. But in part, I know it's marketing. They can say what they want to. The fans can look at it a certain way and have one favor over the other. Like I said, both women are talented. Um, but Nicki Minaj, she just has that pedigree. She actually, to me, created a genre that was duplicated by Cardi B, by Doja Cat, by even Megan Thee Stallion. Nicki Minaj started that whole way of rapping as a female artist, and I'm pretty sure she had people that influenced her to give her that style, but she kind of brought it home. And I enjoy listening to Nicki Minaj raps. But that's that beef. In politics, y'all know it is taxing. It is tiring. It is. I don't understand why we still are talking about Donald Trump, and it's beyond me at this point. Why how so many people can be uh, so many people can be brainwashed into believing that this guy is the guy. I heard him compared to Jesus Christ, and I don't get it. I, it's for someone like me who's been religious, who walked that life as a believer, and then kind of laid that stuff down, and or it's taking a look on the outside, just looking at the people that have these belief systems. For someone like me, it's incredible to watch how they can prop an individual up so much so that he's followed, he's believed, nothing can touch him. In the eyes of those people that follow him, I do not understand that mentality, and partly because I gave humanity, I guess, too much credit from how we came along as humans. People don't believe that evolution is real, right? People don't believe that we evolved from a earlier primitive mindset, right? People don't think that primordial thing is real. But if you look at the way that people are blindly following Donald Trump, it's almost like a primal instinct of, the strong man going to protect us, or the tribe leader is going to protect us. It's tribal. And I can see that. It's tribal the way, no matter what Donald Trump does, these people just, they're his leader. That's what it is. And it's not like I'm talking about average Joe Smo everyday people, right? No. I'm talking about people who have made it in this society, who have, came up and own corporations and businesses and stuff. These people still have that primal uh cognitive way of thinking that this tribal leader is going to do something for them. It's amazing to me to watch this, right? And the scary thing is that you got people like the governor of Texas, right? You got Ted Cruz, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, people with platforms like Steve Bannon, and a whole industry propaganda like Fox News that supports this primal way of thinking, right? And it's a danger to society because the influence, not of the individual, the influence of the systems and the people with power that support him push the idea of this tribal leader. And it affects me as a person in society, because now I got to deal with this pure craziness. I get confronted with crazy people because we haven't evolved as humans. Oh, part of us haven't. Anyway. What's up, MJ East Coast? How y'all doing tonight? Um, it's weird to me. I know I just started rambling about some bullshit about Trump and his followers, right? But you know, I always got a point whenever I speak. The reason that I'm saying that is because I got a phone call today from one of these people. From one of these people that I'm talking about that blindly follows Donald Trump. Now, y'all know that I've been under the weather and I'm trying to get myself back together. You know, I was out there in my yard messing around. I wasn't doing too much, but I was out there messing around. My phone ring. I said, hello? Ah, nigga, what you gonna say now? I was like, what the fuck do you want, Sarge? Why you calling my phone? Why are you calling my phone? What? And he wants to talk about Fannie Willis. He wants to talk about Fannie Willis. And we went over Fannie Willis and what these guys are trying to do with that lady. Right? It's all BS. It's all BS that is going on with Fannie Willis. But Sarge thinks that, you know, because Fannie Willis allegedly slept with someone she hired, that disqualifies Fannie Willis from being over or being the prosecutor in the Georgia RICO trial. That's the understanding that I got from Sarge today. Out of all that yelling and screaming that he was doing about Fannie Willis, you know. So the conversations pretty much go just like they go on here. I can't get a word in edgewise. And I'm trying to tell Sarge, I hear you, but may I insert this thought, sir? Did those people that are wrapped up in the RICO trial, did they do or commit the crimes that they are accused of committing, that a grand jury said that they committed? Did they do that or didn't they? That's all I want to know. In other words, did Donald Trump try to commit election fraud or didn't he? That's what I want to know. All of this other stuff about who Fannie Willis slept with, and I don't care. You know, he was talking about ethics and morality of Fannie Willis and why she should be disqualified. But wait, you're supporting the most unethical person on the planet. You're supporting the most immoral person on the planet who was civilly held liable for committing sexual assault. Right? You calling me about two consenting adults that possibly had some engagements or whatever. I don't know. That wasn't proven either. But you don't care that the man that you're supporting with 91 felony charges that got found civilly liable for sexually assaulting someone and held accountable for that assault at the tune of $83 million. Why are you talking to me about Fannie Willis? Here it is right here. The jury decision awards $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll came at an inopportune moment for the former president, who might soon face another large penalty for civil fraud bought by the New York Attorney General Letitia James. Why are you talking to me about Fannie Willis? Why did you waste your time and minutes on your phone, put a quarter in that telephone booth down there in Georgia, because I know y'all ain't got cell phones? Why did you call me to talk about Fannie Willis and who she's sleeping with when you support a guy that has to now pay $83 million based on a grand jury's decision, right? And a judge said that you did this, right? Why are you talking to me about Fannie Willis? And it came out last week that whenever they did unseal the divorce documents for the Fannie Willis partner, Nathan Wade, that she wasn't even in the paperwork. But what the news is today is, I think, is that she got subpoenaed in a divorce that she's not married in. So she has to show up for a subpoena. That's what Sarge is screaming about. So let's see what Forbes says about Fannie Willis, because I don't know. Because I think it's uninteresting. We all know what this is, right? We got Donald Trump and all of his Caucasian cohorts caught up into trying to steal an election and overthrow Georgia's decision when it comes to the electoral vote down there. They got caught up. That's what this is. You've got at least 2 or 3 people that have taken a plea and pled guilty to these charges. So it happened, right? It happened because these people said it happened, and they took a plea. The Kraken lady took a plea. And 2 other people that was well known took a plea, said it happened. So what are we talking about, right? So we know what's going on. They're trying to derail this RICO case in Georgia. Now, here's the thing about the United States of America, and what I've always said is that this is a white male nation. And if a white male get pushed into the corner of this country, they're going to do whatever they need to do, come out kicking and scratching and clawing to get out of that corner. So they just reached into the air, and perhaps there is some history between Fannie Willis and her partner, Nathan Wade, or what, I don't know, but they just reached into the corner and tried to pull anything out to try to derail this case. And because the media is the media, and because this is a white male nation, and this is a black woman going after Donald Trump, everybody is jumping aboard this gossip train to try to defame this professional black lady in Georgia that is doing her fucking job in her state. Everybody is jumping aboard and trying to say somehow or another Fannie Willis is not qualified because of her improprieties or her relationship with the people in her office. She's trying to say that they're trying to derail the whole case, right? Because this is a white male nation, and a black woman should not hold this type of power, right? This is what's going on. It says, this is today, February the 1st. It says Fannie Willis won't step down from the Trump case of alleged affair with prosecutors, report says. See how they title that? Listen to what I'm saying. The reason that title reads that way, Fannie Willis won't step down from Trump case over alleged affairs with the prosecutor, right? Why are they saying over alleged affairs? Because they don't have proof to say that it happened. So why was this white man afforded the opportunity to reach out there and accuse her of sleeping with her coworker. And then that got hold, and people started, trying to defame this woman. If you don't have proof, why are you writing a headline about an affair that didn't happen? That's why we say alleged, right? Could be true, it could not be true. I mean, come on. And even if she did, like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with the criminals involved with trying to overthrow the election. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has no plans to recuse herself in her office election interference case against the former President Donald Trump amid allegations she had a clandestine relationship with one of the lead prosecutors. The CNN reported, rebuffing calls for Trump and his allies for her to step aside. Willis, who has not publicly responded to the allegations, she did publicly respond in the church. I seen it. Willis, who had not publicly responded to the allegations, plans to argue she has not breached any laws. That's important. What law did she break? What disqualifies her? Why should she recuse herself? You're going to have to say now that if it is true, the alleged allegations is true, that a lawyer or a prosecutor cannot do their job if they commit the human activity of having sex. What are you saying? You're saying if somebody has sex, then they can't drive a school bus. If somebody has sex, then they can't teach children. They can't preach. They can't do a job because they had sex. So you're saying if the relationship between Fannie Willis and her assistant happened, then they're not qualified enough to run this case, right? Well, you ain't got to look no further than Morning Joe and see that Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, they were in a working relationship right there on the show before they was married. On the damn show. Are they able to perform their fucking job? They still got a damn show? Now, I know that might not be, that might have went over somebody's head, and it might not be a clear enough example for you, but all I'm trying to say is if Fannie Willis and this guy did have a relationship, then they got nothing to do with the charges of these criminals trying to overthrow an election. Nothing. It's because a white man got angry and he's reaching out, kicking and scratching and trying to derail the investigation. And Sarge called me today supporting this dumb idea that somehow or another Fannie Willis is disqualified because of that. Willis faced intense backlash since the Trump's co-defendant in the Georgia election interference case, Mike Rowan, alleged in January in a court filing she hired a lead prosecutor in the case, Nathan Wade, after the two had a clandestine relationship. His attorney wrote accusing Willis of violating ethical standards and creating impermissible conflicts of interest. What? I don't even believe I just read that. What we just read is a bunch of bullshit that don't have no legal fucking standing and does not disqualify that woman. Oh no. East Coast just wrote Joe Madison passed away. Well, listen, I'm gonna send my condolences out to him. Y'all don't know who Joe Madison is. I listened to Joe Madison. He was 70 years old, looked like 74. They don't say he passed away. East Coast. Hold on. Oh yeah, January 31st, 2024. Well, I send my condolences out to Joe Madison. I'm pretty sure you guys seen him. Let me find some earlier pictures. He's a little aged there. Um, Joe Madison was somebody. People talk about black people not being boots on the ground. Um, Joe Madison was somebody with boots on the ground, actually going head to head with people about black issues in this country, and he was doing it in such a way that he got platforms that allowed him to actually promote that message. So it's really sad to hear this news about Joe Madison. So rest in peace to that brother, man. I appreciate your service, man. Yeah. Thanks for that info, East Coast. Well, yeah. I didn't go over enough stuff that he did. Let me see what. Let me see. Here he had a radio career. At WXYZ AM radio station. He was on WOL and XM satellite radio. Um, Looked like he was on the Urban View on Sirius Radio. I've seen him on MSNBC a couple of times. I've seen him on Fox News a couple of times and on CNN. So he showed up on TV quite a bit. Madison took a DNA test indicating that his ancestry was in Sierra Leone and Mozambique. Research done for Finding Your Roots revealed that he is a great grandfather. His great grandfather was a white man from South Carolina who fought for the Confederates during the American Civil War. His biological grandfather included the Tuskegee syphilis experiments. He lived in Washington, D.C. with his wife Sharon and was a father and grandfather. He earned his bachelor's degree from Washington University in St. Louis. He died of prostate cancer on January 31st, 2024, surrounded by his family. He was originally diagnosed with in 2009. All right. Yep. All right. So thanks for that, East Coast. Um, Back to Donald Trump, and no disrespect to Mr. Madison, but back to Donald Trump and his little flunky running around here trying to call me about overthrowing derailing the investigation of the RICO charge, Sarge. Clearly, what I just read, I'm gonna read it again. Willis has faced intense backlash since one of Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia election interference, Mike Rowland, alleged in January court. Listen, Mike Rowland alleged in a January court filing, she hired a lead prosecutor in her case, Nathan Wade, after the two had a clandestine relationship. In a court filing with no evidence, probably hearsay, he alleged this relationship that had nothing to do with the election, the fake election scheme, or the RICO trial. He alleged this thing about Fannie Willis in a court filing. His attorney wrote, accusing Willis of violating ethical standards and creating an impermissible conflict of interest. Right? Now, when you look at the word impermissible, they're saying that if this alleged affair happened, it is so bad, it should not be allowed, and she should not be allowed. That's the definition of the word. Too bad to be allowed. It's impermissible to head up this case. That's how they word it, right? Trying to say Fannie Willis, if you had sex with this guy, you not qualified no more to run this case. So we're gonna have to throw all this out. Throw the fake elector scheme out. Throw the fact that we heard you on a phone call asking for 11,000 fucking votes out. Throw the fact out that you threatened the Secretary of State, said something bad could happen to him if he didn't. Throw all of that out, right? Throw out Trudy, Kanye West's manager, that black lady, intimidating the two black ladies down in Georgia. Throw all of that out. Throw out Rudy Giuliani accusing them of passing crack to each. Throw it out. None of this matters because Fannie Willis supposedly slept with somebody. None of it matters. None of the stuff matters. The fake electors, when y'all sent all this paperwork to Washington that you signed illegally, none of that matters because Fannie Willis supposedly slept with somebody. One ain't got nothing to do with the other, is my point. I know y'all saying, what the hell are you saying, Tom? One ain't got and so much so, Sarge wanted to call me and tell me that she was disqualified because this thing happens. You're an idiot. Don't call me with this dumb shit. Call me talking about, the people that got charged in the RICO charge, right? He had me pull it up last week, what the charges was for the RICO charges, and he wouldn't even acknowledge what was there and what the law that they was breaking. In the Fannie Willis case, he said it wasn't no laws that they was breaking. Sarge don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Because I pulled up the indictment, right? I pulled up the indictment, and he didn't want to say that there was any laws that was broke. There are laws that was broken in the Georgia RICO case. And those laws that was broken are not being addressed by this white man and him accusing Fannie Willis of sleeping with somebody. It just ain't. It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's like, they're saying, look over there. No, see, look over there. And the sad thing about this country is, because somebody like dumbass Sarge picked it up and he's repeating it, he's not the only one. He's not the only one, because now we're starting not to talk about the laws that they broke in Georgia. We're starting to assume and allege that Fannie Willis is doing something that is a conflict of interest in Georgia. That's the conversation now. But you ain't going to throw me off. You're not going to throw me off. Because I know that ain't the reason Fannie Willis is doing her job down there, right? I know that ain't the reason Fannie Willis is doing her job. And if anytime somebody asks, just like last week, I will pull up every one of these charges in Georgia. Here they go. All of them. And the law that they broke. Right there. Georgia law. And I will show you that there's a reason that Fannie Willis is doing what the fuck she's doing, and it's not because of politics. It's because Georgia has these fucking laws on their books that you are not supposed to break, and if you break them, you should be held accountable. Not because Fannie Willis slept with somebody. Get the hell out of here. It's such a right. What is this OCG? Let's just pick one. Solicitation, a violation of the oath by a public officer. let's just take this one. GOG. This is Georgia Code. I guess that's what it stands for. Georgia Code. Right here, criminal solicitation. This is the Georgia law that these people fucking broke. That ain't got shit to do with Democrat or Republican. It ain't got shit to do with Fonnie Willis sleeping with somebody. It ain't got nothing to do with that white man being angry because he violated this law. Why didn't your filing have, instead of Fonnie Willis having an inappropriate relationship, why didn't your filing have how you didn't break this law in it? That's where I'm at. You filed something about somebody sleeping with somebody, but you didn't put no filing in there about defending yourself about violating this fucking law. And this is what we need to be talking about, is the law that you broke. But this country's so damn dumb and stupid, and they want to look at the shiny thing. They don't care. All you got to do is say it real. Hey, look at this over here. Oh, look over here. Dr. Fauci did something, right? Oh, everybody look over there. Oh, look over there. Bill Gates gonna kill everybody, and everybody look over there. How the fuck stupid can you be? I'm tired. I'm tired talking to a bunch of looking and even walking in society with a bunch of ignorant people. These people are proven criminals. A while back, not too far in the past, the entire black community used to get painted as thugs and hoodlums and criminals. They can't stay out of jail with their pants down and all of this bullshit. But we looking at fucking criminals right now. A civil case just said Donald Trump was liable for $83 million for defamation and $5 million for sexually assaulting his victim. He got held liable for that. A proven fucking criminal under any other circumstances. What Donald Trump did with that sexual assault would be considered criminal rape under any other circumstances. Whenever they found a decision for the $5 million, I said, what the hell is a civil rape? What is that? I don't even know if this is the first time in history that that term ever came into existence. I don't. I don't know. I mean, that's the first time I've never. Anytime you criminally, sexually assault somebody, that's a crime. That's how I always known it. And I'm you can bet your bottom dollar now that I'm Googling to try to find out what the fuck a civil rape is. I've never heard of that. Civil rape? No. So why does this guy get that? Why does this guy get that civil criminal? Like, I can't even, that civil sexual assault charge and get to pay his way out of it? Right? Just think about it. You know, Tyrone ain't no Cornell law professor. I'm not, but if you just think about your entire life, and when somebody got charged with that R word, right? That is a crime all day, all night, no exceptions whatsoever, as far back as I can remember. But whenever it happened, now people are trying to explain it away by saying because it was 30 years ago or whatever, right? But a grand jury said, yes, this man did this. And it is considered the R word. But instead of us holding him criminally liable for it, we're going to hold him civilly liable for it, which is fines and penalties for committing a crime. What? Who? You know, but we go on with it. We go on with it, right? Because this is a white man's world. And we're just squirrels trying to get a nut. This is a white man's world when you can clearly watch them change and bend the laws right in front of your fucking face. You have to be blind not to see how they're trying to maneuver Fannie Willis in Georgia and try to derail the investigation for what the phone call that we heard where the president of the United States was violating the fucking law live on TV where everybody heard it. The president of the United States called the Georgia Secretary of State and said, find me 11,000 votes, nigga, so I can win. That is illegal. And not only that, they had a big, complicated scheme to ensure that Donald Trump would win Georgia by recruiting and enlisting people that he is in the RICO charge with. All of these motherfuckers. Randolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, Keith John Cheeseborough, Jeff Clark, Gina Ellis, Ray Smith, Robert Cheadley, Michael Roman, David Schaffner, Sean Steele, Stephanie Lee, Harris, Floyd, Travion Cuddy, Sidney Powell, Kathleen Latham, Scott Hall, Misty Hampton, aka Emily Misty Hayes. All of these people are criminals that broke the law in Georgia. See, they try to argue like it was one person and it was a mistake and we're not seeing what we're seeing with our fucking eyes when a grand jury has sat up there and went through each one of these incidents that all of these people broke the law in Georgia, and they went down and they said, Donald J. Trump, you are guilty of number 1, 5, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 27, 29, 38, and 39. That's what you're guilty of, breaking all of those laws in Georgia. Rudy William Giuliani, you are guilty of 1, 3, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 23, and 24. You're guilty of breaking all those laws, right? And it goes on, and you see all the numbers up under the name, right? Those are the laws that they broke that are right here in the right-hand column that's got those corresponding numbers beside them. So, why am I telling you all of that? Because now, instead of looking at all the laws that they broke, they want you to talk about who Fannie Willis is sleeping with. You got to be shitting me, and it pisses me off that the media is buying this. It's pissing me off that the right wing is so convincing to these idiots like Sarge that he would pick up his motherfucking phone today and try to argue with me about what the hell is going on with Fannie Willis. It's a nothing burger. Sarge, It's a nothing burger. And as soon as I try to start talking to him about the actual crimes in Georgia, he wanted to start yelling, "Ah, nigga." You don't want to talk about it. No, I don't. Listen to me, guys. You know, I know, and every point that I just presented is correct 100%. Nobody can argue with me, right? Because all I'm doing is showing evidence. All I'm doing is showing evidence. I'm not even trying to argue the case for Fannie Willis. All I'm saying is that people has been charged. The grand jury has met. They found these people are responsible for breaking these laws, right? That's the evidence so far. When the trial happened and when and if they get found guilty or not guilty, then we can continue the conversation, right? But they're showing their hand because they don't want the laws of this nation to work. They don't want for the justice system to see them through and actually have a goddamn trial to see if they're guilty or innocent. They want to derail it. They want to throw a fucking wrench in the fucking spokes. Right? This is what you're watching. Cheating. Cheating. I can't believe we still talking about these criminals. They are proven criminals. Right? Listen, I don't I've only been on this planet for 57 years, right? And since I've been here, I've seen America go through some times. I remember seeing poverty being reported on the news when I was smaller, crime being reported on the news. I remember Bill Clinton coming up with the 3 strikes. I remember seeing George Bush go bring us into war, the first and the second one, right? I remember Hurricane Katrina. I remember the heat waves in California. I remember, of course, the pandemic. I remember a lot of things that has happened in this country. But I can never, and I remember racism. As a child, as an adult, I see the racism on display. But I've never seen a threat to democracy. I've never seen a threat to freedom as present as it is right now. I've never seen it. I've always thought in my head that, you know how everybody says it, Rome was a great empire and Rome fell. And in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, well, if Rome was a great empire, why did it fall? You know, and I could never understand why it fell, because if it's a great empire and it's got influence globally, why would it fall, right? And I still don't have a answer for that, but I understand now, watching this American democracy at threat like it is right now, being weakened like it is right now. I can see it now. I can see how Rome could have possibly fallen. Right? Now, I'll say this. I still have hopes in this democracy, but it's waning. And if it's not this cycle, it may be the next cycle or the cycle after next that somebody is going to go ahead and tear this country down. Because Donald Trump has said it out of his mouth. He has said it out of his mouth that he had called for the termination of the Constitution. And y'all know the Constitution is the thing in this country, even though I disagree with the Constitution, even though I think the Constitution is unfair, biased, especially against African Americans. It is the only thing that's holding this damn country together. It is the only thing that's holding this country together. And Donald Trump called for the termination of that thing that Sarge says that he loves. Donald Trump called for that thing that soldiers follow and we swear to. And if you want to terminate the Constitution, then there's your democracy. There's your democracy. And even though this man called for the termination of the Constitution, which means a lawless fucking country, even though I had to find it. Here's the quote right here. A massive fraud of this type and magnitude, he wrote this on Truth Social, allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. If Donald Trump is calling for the termination of the Constitution, what the fuck is Sarge defending? What are you defending? Why are you defending somebody that don't want no fucking rules? If you're calling for the termination of the Constitution, why do you think that they're right about Fannie Willis in Georgia? These people haven't got no bounds. You're trying to protect a fucking sex offender. You're trying to protect someone who's a fucking criminal. And he don't want to be held accountable. Why the fuck are you trying to protect this guy? And this conversation is not about, and this is what the right has done. They made these fools think that we should be having a political conversation about left versus right, about Democrat versus Republican, about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. That is not what the hell is wrong with y'all? You should be thinking about the country first, regardless of the leadership, right? Let me tell you how you're supposed to think. Good Lord. You should be thinking about the United States of America first, right? Then you look at the leadership on either side. And whatever side has the best interest of the fucking country, that's the side you promote. Period. It's that easy. If one side, like the Republicans now, are racist, they have the Proud Boys, they have the Patriot Front, they have the Oath Keepers, they tried to tear down the motherfucking Capitol, they don't give a shit about black people, they don't give a fuck about brown people, they don't give a shit about immigration. This is their platform. How could you be an American with a symbol like the Statue of Liberty and be a fucking Republican when the Statue of Liberty is inviting migration to this goddamn country, and you're telling us that you want a fucking goddamn China wall on your southern fucking border? And speaking of the border, breaking news, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but the Democrats and the Republicans have actually came to a deal to address the border crisis. But Donald Trump, Donald Trump stopped the fucking deal because he don't want to do anything about the border. Okay, so I got to Google that too to show y'all that Sarge is full of shit. Whenever he's talking about the border, they don't want no goddamn deal on the border. Okay, so Speaker Johnson denies that he opposes. Hold on. Here's I do Axios. I know I try to do other papers, but here's Axios. And this was a couple of days ago. Trump, House Republicans plot to kill border deal. Republican and Democrat senators are taken to the airways, scrambling to pass a restrictive migration flooding across the U.S.-Mexico border. There's just one thing. Their plan is all but dead. Why it matters. The Senate might pass the plan. Okay, well, come on, thing. The Senate might pass a plan which would be one of the hardest immigration bills of the century. Listen, they already had a plan with the Democrats to pass one of the hardest immigration bills of the century. President Biden is ready to sign it. Okay, they got a deal. President Biden at the southern border, and President Biden is ready to sign it. But House Republican, egged on by Donald Trump, have already planned to shut it down. So wait, what happened to the caravans is coming across and Joe Biden ain't doing nothing? There's gazillion people flooding the southern border and the Democrats ain't doing shit. No, motherfucker, it's Donald Trump ain't doing shit and he's telling people not to do shit. Okay, the state of play. Illegal immigration has rocketed to the top of voters' concern, and Biden has become increasingly desperate for a solution. Trump and conservative Republicans see a political opportunity to squeeze Biden and the Democrats on the issue. Trump, who's the front runner status of the Republican presidential race, has solidified his leadership of the GOP, has loudly vowed to kill a bipartisan deal. What? It's not going to happen. I'll fight it all the way, Trump said Saturday in Nevada. Okay, I didn't need to read no more of that. But here's the deal. They keep screaming about all these crises and all this kind of stuff, but whenever they come to a bipartisan agreement, this country is not about the coronation of fucking Donald Trump. It's not about Donald Trump's decisions and what he thinks. It's about those Republicans and Democrats in Washington coming together, making an agreement, and making this country work. It's not about one side or the other one getting brownie points for achieving things. That's the reason you have two parties. Because we sent them both to Washington so they can work together and do what's best for this fucking country. Period. But you see what's going on in Washington right now in the House of Representatives. Not a damn thing, number one, and they ain't passing a motherfucking bill for number two. And if they do get bipartisan agreement, they're going to shut it down because they think it might be political at a political disadvantage for them to agree with the other side. So I don't want to hear anything about no border crisis from Sarge ever a fucking again when Donald Trump himself is not wanting to do a goddamn thing about immigration at the southern border. Not a motherfucking thing. Why are you still supporting this goddamn criminal? I don't get it. I don't get it. He's a fucking criminal. He violated the 14th Amendment of the Constitution by not ceding power when his time was up. This is the first time in American motherfucking history we didn't have a peaceful transfer of power where the outgoing president shows the president around the White House. That the shit didn't happen. It's the first time in motherfucking history that a president steals nuclear secrets and secret documents and classified documents and take them and stuff them in bathrooms and pool houses and all that kind of shit down in his fucking Florida home. We never seen this shit before. Why are you supporting this idiot? This guy's a threat to democracy. It's the first time in history that we know from reporting that on January the 6th, instead of them yahoos and idiots climbing over the fucking balconies and shitting in hallways, that Donald Trump planned to take 10,000 military troops to try to take over this goddamn country. We know that now. He planned to use his power and the military to try to overthrow this government. We know courts have called what Donald Trump participated in that day an insurrection, which disqualifies him by the 14th Amendment. Why are you still... And then we're supposed to listen to your fucking complaints about an outstanding professional prosecutor of Georgia with a perfect record, because you say that she slept with somebody. What the fuck? All of these other fucking laws that has been violated, you want to talk about Fannie Willis and who she sleep with? Come on. Y'all full of shit right now. Y'all full of shit. And this motherfucker gonna call me talking about some damn Fannie Willis. All right, look, y'all know me. I've been running my mouth all night, and I'm gonna shut up. If y'all want to call in, Sarge is spamming the chat room. What the hell? Fuck that goddamn border deal. You don't want to do nothing about the border. See, this guy is programmed. This is one of these blind people with... She slept with a sleazy slip and falls shyster that she gave $1 million to. Who gives... Sarge? These are professional people that are way more qualified than you to actually handle that case that they're involved in, brother. You're just falling for the propaganda that is coming from the right. You're in that atmosphere on social media that is trying to discredit Fannie Willis. Fannie Willis have did nothing wrong except for be professional and courteous with this case and actually do the right thing when it comes to this RICO charge. Why don't you address those charges of your state that is on the screen right now that people violated? Why don't you address that? Why don't you address the law violations that they violated? You're not going to do that because you're disingenuous when it comes to these conversations. And guys, if y'all want to call in, the number to call in is 717-908-1834, and then you can hit the access code at 917-324, and I'll get you on the line here. What's going on, Miss Elisa? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Tyrone. I'm doing okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, great. When some other people call in, I might have to close out and change out my earphones.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with these right now. Yeah, I heard you was talking about the bipartisan deal that they were trying to get going. And after reading as much as I can about it, it basically says that Biden basically is going to give them whatever they want. Whatever it is that they want for the border. You want more money for this, you want more money. He's basically willing to give them more, to whatever it is that they want to get this thing done so he can go ahead and do, I don't know if it's an executive order, But that once they're able to do that, he said that he's willing to even shut the border completely down. He's willing to give them any and everything that they want so they can get this deal passed, and they're not going to do it because they're playing politics and games. They're not getting anything done since. Well, we know that the House they haven't got anything done basically for a couple of years now. They're not doing anything, and all we heard for the past couple of years is the gangs that's coming across the border. And all we heard for years is the fentanyl, the drugs, and all we heard for years is the jobs. And the border is open. The man talking about closing it down. And we heard so much. But when you have something that can go ahead, just I'll give you what you want. Y'all just put together a deal. And when some of them get together to put together a deal, they're playing games and they're trying to hold out because they're trying to help a crook to get elected. This whole thing is just ridiculous. But if you try to speak, if you try to talk to a deranged MAGA about it,
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it. And this is just absolutely sad. And this is my take on this. My take, I could be wrong. Oh, well, let me just say this. They don't care about them people coming over the border. They don't care about the fentanyl that they fussed and bitched and whined about for years. They don't care about the crooks and the gangs. They don't care nothing about, like they said, Biden has open borders, which that's never been true. But they don't care about any of that. It's never been about that. Because when they have a chance to get that funding and for him to shut that damn border down, when they have a chance to give them what they won't take it. And they're like, no, forget the deal. So they never cared about that in the beginning. There was just a lot of hot air. But this is my take on this. You have a lot of these boomers out here and these older people, and they have infected a lot of the young MAGAs with all of these talking points, with all of these conspiracies, because they're trying to hold on to something of how they wanted it in the past, and they're trying to bring it forward into the, going forward. They don't want things to change. They don't want diversity. They don't want people to move forward as we're in the new millennium. And you have the new people not thinking that a lot of these people are going to be dead and gone, and you all are going to have to be stuck. Like the Mitch McConnells and all these people, that you young people are going to have to be stuck with some of these decisions that you're making, listening to these boomers and these older people who don't believe in moving forward, who doesn't believe in diversity, who doesn't believe in anything but how things were in the past. And the past was not so great. The past was not so great. It really wasn't. We had some great things that happened in the past, but it really was not so great. And you think that people will want to move forward, but they don't. So once the hollering and screaming starts on here, if it starts on here tonight, I'm not going to take part. I'm going to close out and switch out my earphones, and I'll call back. But this is absolutely ridiculous, and I feel who I feel sorry for, not me. I'm a tail end Gen Xer. Not me, not the millennials. I feel sorry for Gen Zers and the alphas and those that's coming up from behind them, because they're going to have to live with a lot of the foolishness and the decisions. And if Trump gets back in, they're going to have to live with the policies and the different things that's going to take place that's going to devastate for the next couple of decades. That's who I feel sorry for. So that's all I want to say about it. But this is
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. This is
I
ridiculous. They won't pass the bill that they said they won't.
I agree with you, but at the same time, um, Jermaine brought up a good point. Is why now, and what I was explaining to Jermaine is I don't agree with it most likely, but it just shows you that the right is full of crap. I'm pretty sure that I don't agree with whatever Joe Biden is agreeing with. It's probably all political. It's probably some stuff that I
Yeah,
never stood for. It's probably money for the border wall. It's probably that type of crap. And
it
I
is. It is.
yeah. So I don't
is.
agree with it, but it just shows you if the Republicans get what they want on a silver platter, they're still unwilling to
To do it.
compromise and actually do something about the border and the immigration that they complain so much about. Like Alicia said, they complain about fentanyl and criminals coming across the border and all that kind of stuff. And now is the time for them to do something about it. So what you're saying is we got to wait as a country until an election happens to stop all of this bad stuff that you saying is happening. So whoever
Yeah.
you so you want the person that you want in charge to take credit for it. That seems ridiculous to me.
Because they don't care nothing about that stuff. All of that was smoke and mirrors. Everybody was acting. Everybody, that's all that was. They never cared about. Because I think last week when we were discussing immigrants and jobs and things over here, and I think most of us came to the conclusion that it's the corporations and big business that want those people to still be able to come. They're playing a game on everybody. They want those people to come so they can pay them low wages. And I think everybody kind of agreed with that. We're basically being played. We're basically being played, and it's a game. And you have stupid people, because if they wanted to shut the border down and really do something, I mean, immigration is never something that's just going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Most countries, a lot of European countries, they have immigration problems. So it's not going to be perfect anywhere. You're going to always have problems within immigration. Ours, it seems to be kind of in bad shape right now because nothing is being done because games are being played. Big business wants these people to come. They want and I'm not talking about people who come over and get their work permits, visas. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the illegal immigrants that come across to work. The corporations want those people to come so they can pay them smaller wages and they don't have to pay benefits, something that you have to do with American citizens. And that helps the rich stay richer, and that helps the wage inequality to stay as screwed up as it is. That helps the wealth, like the wealth gap.
Mm-hmm.
That helps that wealth gap to not only calcify, but to turn into stone, iron, whatever the hardest metal that there is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. And the people are being played. And they too stupid to get. They fall in line for the rhetoric, and they actually believe that the illegal immigrants that come over and take the jobs and get paid pennies on the dollar, that they're actually taking your job, taking jobs away from
it's not
Americans.
it's not the
They're
immigrants.
not.
It's not the immigrants that is crapping on America. It's big corporation with low wages
Big
and all of that kind of stuff, and not providing
Exactly.
benefits and it's
Not,
what it is.
They're not,
Mm-hmm.
and they play the people to think that they're taking your jobs. No, they're not. You was never getting them jobs. They always intended to give them to them for low wages and no
Well, either that
benefits.
or ship it overseas. The
Ship it
textile
overseas.
industry, the automotive industry, things that used
All
to
of
get
it.
built right here in America. You can see that corporations for low wages and slave labor, they sent that stuff to China, and all we hear
So they don't.
is they complain
China,
about
India,
China, but they send it over there for cheap labor.
they send it over to China, India, and different countries like that, so they can pay them low wages. They don't have to pay. They can pay them pennies on the dollar.
And
Go ahead.
and just having this conversation here, all of this immigration talk is a scheme so you won't rail against corporations. Instead of talking about how the
Exactly.
corporations are sending the jobs overseas, what are we talking about? We're talking about the southern
Yep.
border when they're not the ones.
Yep.
The corporation don't want no bad publicity, so they know how to play the society and get us to talk about other things like that dumbass Sarge. That's all he know how to talk about is the southern border instead of
it's the southern border.
the corporations actually screwing people over in this country.
And they're not paying because where I live at, one of the counties where my job is at, I live in the county over. And some of the people that I knew that I worked with, there's a company that I worked for you might as well say it's an international melting pot, kind of. Not a lot of black people. I'm like one in a handful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like an international melting pot. So I had different people. They're all citizens. And I know them, but a couple of them, how they became American citizens when they were over here going to school and different things like that. The visas ran out. They were here going to college. The visas ran out. They stayed. And I remember one girl in particular. We were all talking about this at lunch. She's a citizen now, but when she was here going to school, her family went back to the country that she was from, and she stayed. And her visa ran out. And she was saying that she worked for CVS. Now, I don't know if a lot of the people who are listening are familiar with CVS. Because CVS isn't in all the states. But CVS is a pharmacy like Walgreens and Rite Aid.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, well, how did you get a job at CVS and your visa you were here on, how did you get that job? And she explained how herself and other immigrants whose visas ran out, other immigrants of different places who were illegals or however the hell they got into the country, they worked with sort of like a broker. They, because in the communities we have, like, what do you call those cities? Where the Spanish people go, something of the cities. Oh my gosh, something cities where they know where to go. They don't have, not salvation, something city. It'll come to me later. But anyway, they have the areas where they live. And she was saying everybody knows the different brokers and the people who to go to. And what they do, they broker the jobs for them at regular establishments, McDonald's, CVS, Target, whatever. And they hire them knowing that they don't have the paperwork and they can pay them less than the others. She said, yeah, like if whatever the minimum wage, let's say the minimum wage is $8, they would pay them $5. Because, see, they don't have the paperwork, so they would pay them $5. And she said a lot of the companies, she said you can get jobs like that. They have brokers that get you those jobs, and the brokers get paid to help them to do these types of things under the table. And was like, oh, so that's how, because I was wondering, how could a person get a job at CVS and you don't have correct paperwork? Your visas and everything has expired. Mm-hmm. And that's how it's done. So instead of them giving those jobs to American citizens and paying them whatever the wage, they work with these brokers to sanctuary cities. That's what you call them. And a lot of them, they live in and around what you call sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
And people know who is who and who to go if you need jobs, if you don't have the correct paperwork.
And see that situation that you just described, like Sard would say that's the immigrant's fault. That's not the immigrant's fault. That's the corporation's fault for having that system.
Corporation's fault.
Yeah. Who's this unknown caller?
Yeah, hey, Tyrone. You guys are leaving out a really important point, too. You need these immigrants for Social Security. Mm-hmm. The way the Social Security system was designed, it was designed so that more people are paying into it than drawing from it. They never anticipated a situation where you have more older people drawing from it than younger people paying into it. And that's where we kind of really are right now.
And Joe, that's a very important point. And this is how you know America is full of shit, because they are having these people pay taxes and pay into the system. And these same immigrants can't draw off of that system. That is nuts. Who's this other unknown caller?
This is Miss Lady.
What's up, Miss Lady?
Hi.
Hey, Miss Lady.
Hi. Well, when you brought up CBS, I remember, I recently saw a clip on YouTube talking about how awful that corporation is to work for. And I know that I've gone into different, they closed a lot of them down. And the ones that are left, the pharmacy line is so long, you have to wait so long. And the poor pharmacists and a couple of pharmacy techs, they are just working non-stop. It is horrible. If somebody gets sick, oh well. So they are like skeletonized the crew that's there, and you're more prone to have injuries when you're just rushing here and rushing there. You're prone to making mistakes because they talked about the pharmacy mistakes that have really increased because of the poor staffing. And now that you're saying that they are using illegals to staff the place and paying them less, this is a pathological type of capitalism.
Yeah.
But this has been going on a while, though, because, I first saw it with Russians in the 80s, all right, where I remember I was working for the Transit Authority here and an audit department, and they were busting doctors who basically were getting Russian immigrants that were coming into the country and saying they had disabilities and filling out disability paperwork so they could get half fare cards, and they were using Social Security numbers from dead people. I mean, there's a whole network of this stuff that's been going on a long time. It's just now moved on to the Hispanics. But it didn't start with them. It started with a lot of the European immigrants coming over, and it's just been built from there.
Yeah. But if they hired American citizens, they would pay into the Social Security. If they paid them a living wage and they had proper staffing in these companies, and if the corporations and the wealthy paid their fair share of taxes, we wouldn't have a problem.
Exactly.
Well, and
that ain't gonna happen.
Well, I mean, the case that Donald Trump is going through in New York shows you how the corporations behave as he escalates his value of his properties and all that kind of stuff, and just cheat those people out of their money up there. That's how the corporations act. That whole case is showing you why people ain't getting paid a certain way and why people money ain't here in this country, because people like Donald Trump and other millionaires, they just want all the money for themselves and their bottom line. It needs to increase quarterly. I guess that's how often they take their little meetings. And if it's not, then they have to cut corners and use immigrants to fill those holes.
Because employees are like one of the biggest expenses, but it's greed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's really about greed. And a lot of hedge funds own a lot of these companies.
Yep.
And they are nothing about except making profit. And it's like every year they want more and more and more. So it's going to topple. It can't continue. I don't care if you bring, and you see a lot of those illegals, they were showing them in New York how they beat up those police officers. And did you see that? And
I saw that. That was awful.
So some of them are criminals from their own country. They're in gangs and everything. And so, this is absolutely atrocious. The United States has seen its best days for the average citizen, the average working citizen. Though the best days are past and gone. The ones that are going to do well are the ones that are hooked up and getting big government contracts, or they're ultra professionals. But even attorneys, doctors, they are working so hard. They've just, you get into those systems like a Kaiser, you got 15 minutes to see a patient. And that means see the patient, examine the patient, interview the patient, write your notes, prescribe the drugs, order the labs, whatever. And it's next.
Yep.
It used to be 20 minutes. So it's just, I'm just saying, it's like enough really is enough. I would encourage everybody to check out Robert Reich on YouTube. He has his whole, he's taught at UC Berkeley in economics. He has a PhD in economics, and he was Clinton's Secretary of Labor. And he has, I think, one of his courses he taught up there at UC Berkeley on YouTube. But he talks about the inequity on how this country, if the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes and the corporations, we would not have a Social Security problem. It's not hard to. It's not rocket science. It can be fixed.
Well, because you remember, like during COVID, when the airlines needed that bailout. Well, everybody was home, everybody was paying attention to it, and the airlines needed that bailout. And they found out that because the top people at the top, they drew out each one of them drew out millions and millions and millions. So the airlines didn't have a buffer. And then when COVID hit, they needed a bailout. So who had to bail them out? And you would have thought that the citizens would have paid attention to this. That the people at the top, they just drawing out all of this money. And the airlines didn't have no padding, no nothing. They drew all that money out and had it up in their bank account. And I remember people were saying, well, why not make them give that money? But anyway, the government ended up, because you can't let the airlines fall flat. And you would have thought that the citizens would have paid attention to all of that, how you're actually being treated here. But you know what started? People started to arguing about the mask. They started arguing about, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to do the quarantine. And then you forgot all about that whole airlines thing that everybody was paying to, and a lot of these corporations that needed bailout because the CEOs and the people at the top drew out all that money. And the people started arguing about masks. And then when the vaccine came along, they were arguing about that. There was people's minds shifted onto BS. It's just like they're not paying attention. It's like their minds is on the border wall, the illegals, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants. They're arguing about that when they are not the problem. They have us arguing about nonsense.
Well, it's really sad to see it going on, they're sliding down the mountain. Eventually it's going to be under the sea. Okay.
I agree with you.
It's awful.
It is awful.
And they were buying back their stocks too. See, there was no requirement on how that money was spent, and that was done intentionally. Yep. And so that's why that you said they were shaving off the money and not really putting it into their companies. And they were also buying back their stocks. So there was no requirement. All they had to do was keep 70% of their staff on the books working. That's it.
Yep.
As far as I know, I could be wrong.
But the way the people the people get messed over because the people are bogged down into arguing about BS. And remember when it was time for the people to go back to work, and they was like, well, I'll just stay home. And the money that the government was giving, I forget what that was called, the unemployment, they were doing they were doing the unemployment expansion, giving a little bit more money on top of the regular unemployment. And the people was like, well, why should I come back to work making less? And then they were holding out, saying, well, they need to pay us more money. And I was like, oh my God, looks like we're going to have a real revolution here. We're going to have a real revolution. The people are going to finally stand up and say, these corporations, you want us to come back? You're going to have to start paying us more. But then the bickering started because you had the far right saying these people just want to sit home and live lazy on welfare. And that bickering was like, no, shut up. What the people are saying, we're not coming back. We're not going to come back until you pay us more money per hour. And some companies did. they did offer more money for the people to come back, but the bickering started, and people was bickering about people want to stay home. And I was fussing at a friend of mine because he had to work through the pandemic, through the quarantine, and through all of that. And he was like, well, people just want to sit home and get their money. And I said, be quiet about that. So what if they want to sit home? If they are trying to hold
Exactly, because folks out on the golf course and their country club golf courses when they want to be. You know what?
Let them hold them hostage. Don't fuss about the workers holding these people hostage. If they could get more money, per hour, that's good for you. But the people didn't get it, and then the bickering turned to the vaccine, the bickering turned to the mask, and the bickering, and people forgot all about that. They forgot all about it.
Because remember the gas, inflation went up. Everything went up under COVID. And so they had a chance to sit, be at home and think instead of just rushing. And they realized how much they were spending on gas to get to work, tolls to get to work, energy, how everything had gone up so high in prices, and it continues. And so they were like, no, we do. And they needed more money. It wasn't like they were asking for the unthinkable or something outrageous. No. When you have the average CEO making 356 times the average salary of his employees, plus they get all kind of benefits, they had a great life.
Something is wrong. Something is wrong there. And the people don't see it. And you have the CEO and the other people, the stock people at the top, they refuse. Okay, they want instead of them getting 40 million, they want 80. Because they can't afford. They don't want 40. They want 80. Instead of leaving that 40 to pay the people a little more, they're not going to do that. And I was hoping that the people would finally see that a lot of people did see. And this might be the revolution that, like they said, the revolution is not going to be televised. People are starting to see how they're being taken advantage of. Hopefully this can hold and maintain. It didn't, though, but it was a nice little run when people was really starting to see, look at how much money I'm saving. These people is working me to death. That's all I do is work. And those who started working from home, they found out that they were more productive from home than coming in every day, weighing out cars that you got to pay for, paying for gas, and the stress of sitting in traffic. And I was hoping that would...
That's very unhealthy. That's very
unhealthy. That people would hold to it. Don't let these people cause y'all to bickering about bullshit. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on. It lasted a little while. And then the people got to fussing about other stuff, and they keep us bogged down in racism and then bickering about race. We're bogged down bickering about statues being taken down. We're bickering about the immigrants. We're bickering about illegals. But we're not paying attention to what is really the issue. People ain't paying that attention. Then you talk about rights and lefties, and it's just crazy. And when I hear people come on here and argue that down to the nines about the lefties and Joe Biden and the transgenders and the this and that, like, you fool, they got y'all arguing about BS.
Yeah, they're trying to pull the same thing.
It's really about the haves and the have-nots, okay? And the ones that have a little bit and they see it going away, okay?
They're trying to pull the
That's
same
what
type
it's
of...
about.
They're trying to pull the same type of mind trick down there in Georgia with Fannie Willis and who she slept with. Now they want to talk about who she slept with. I'm like, come on. All of these crimes that been committed, and y'all want to talk about who Fannie Willis slept with?
It's just distracting, and so you won't take a look at what really is going on.
Yeah, they have them looking everywhere.
That's really what it is.
And then they follow right along behind them.
Because they're sheep. They just want to be led by their nose, okay? Like some people, if you know, like I remember years ago, someone invited me to their little church. And I don't go to church with all that howling and screaming and carrying on. It gives me a headache. And as I walked, I didn't know And as I walked toward the church, before on the sidewalk, I could hear all this man. He just hollering and screaming. And I went up there, and you know how they have the outer door and the inner door into the sanctuary, and you had the little glass in the door. And I looked, this man looked like a psychopathic fool sitting up there, looking angry and yelling and castigating that congregation. And they just sitting up there looking at him like sheep. I'm like, what the hell? The man was so loud and so angry. It upset me, and I didn't even go inside. So people, they're being programmed to just be sheep. If it's somebody that appear to be in a position of authority or just follow behind them, no, I mean, it's like, how could you sit there and be yelled at like that?
Well,
It took everything for me not to open up that door and tell him to shut the hell up with all that yelling. That's like crazy. You know, I just had to walk away.
They have their way of doing it. Just like the black maggers, when they be carrying on, they tell me that I'm sheep. Oh, you're sheep. You don't know what's going on. The Democratic plantation. You don't, and I said, yeah, it is probably plantation, but they're both sides of the parties. They're kind of the same. But if you all think that y'all want to get somewhere with Trump, and you're calling me sheep, that's pretty pathetic.
You know, they're really talking about themselves. They're projecting. They're the sheep.
I'm sheep.
And it's just pitiful, and that's how a country goes down. Because when you have too many sheep following behind them folks, you don't have a functioning country.
You don't. I don't think we're functioning. I do not think that the United States is functioning. And they're trying to screw up the trying to screw up the public education. And it's like, well, what do what do they teach? I don't think that we're functioning American society. I really don't, because we're very easily swayed by BS. We're very easily to get, it's just a little bit too easily swayed. And we have a lot of dumb people. We have a lot of ignorant, dumb people in the United States. And they're telling we do. I don't think we are a functioning society. And one of the reasons we're not a functioning society in the United States, and it's getting worse, is because the government and the country didn't put enough money back into the people. And what I mean by health care, by mental health, by just regular health care, by mental health care, education, they will not pay the teachers, and they will not hire enough teachers. They have not put enough money back into the people. Like with the child tax credit, if the parents don't have to worry themselves to death how they gonna put food on the table, and you could give them something that would help, it's not gonna solve it, but would help. But when you don't put money back into the people, you have a dysfunctional society, and that's what we have.
It's all by design. That's just the way they want it. Because I think they have to go in steps. They knew what they were doing when they put these policies and they put this, they put this stuff in place. I remember when they took out music out of the public schools.
Yep.
Well, see, and when you speak of that, Miss Lady, there used to be the fairness doctrine where these airways just couldn't promote one side heavier than the other. And now all you hear is right-wing radio spewing propaganda everywhere, and you never hear the other side's perspective. So whenever they took out the fairness doctrine, all you hear is right. You never hear the left's perspective or anybody to counter with this BS that Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and all these people are putting out there. So these people are getting programmed, and then they stop. I don't know why they stopped taking they changed television to where you're not learning nothing no more. It's just a whole bunch of negative
people. You're not learning a thing.
Yeah, it's a bunch of negative people running around in the jungle trying to eat food.
And social media didn't help when social media should have been a tool that the people be able to use to connect with other people, other places. You could become more connected. But I think social media, I'm not going to say it's the devil because it's not. It's still a lot of, it's still some good with it. But I think it so far is looking like it's done more harm than good.
Well,
I think
especially after
so.
the pandemic. If you if you
Yeah.
paid attention to the response of people during the pandemic and what all they fell for and all the conspiracies that was out there and people were just going towards the conspiracies, even with Alex Jones having such a big platform and convincing people of all these Bilderbergs and secret societies and all of this stuff, these people are willing to just fall for all these conspiracies.
It's
You
all
know,
for
I
a
believe it's
blind.
just it's sinister what's going on, and I think the end goal is to have total control. You're not going to have
I do too.
any privacy. They're going to be able to track everything you do, everything you say. They're going to have a profile and protest. Protest. Oh my goodness! Get out there if you
Oh,
want to.
oh, Miss Lady, I'm glad you on the phone. I'm glad you, because me and you discussed this once. Tyrone, I'm gonna switch gears for a quick second,
Go ahead.
because Miss Lady on the phone, and I wanna bring up something because I posted this. Hold on, just one moment. I'm gonna get her opinion on this. I posted it in the TRS group, so hold on. You probably saw it. I don't know if you saw it, Tyrone, but hold on. Because me and her, we discussed this once before. Wait a minute. Because it's two groups. I don't know which one is. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They could never. I just posted this thing the other day. Oh, here it is. Is this it? No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Miss Lady. You probably have heard about this. Okay, I can't find the article that I posted. I'll just pull it back up again. What do you call it? Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Passport bros, beware. Men traveling to Colombia for love are ending up drug robbed or dead after being lured by women on dating apps. Did you hear about that, Miss Lady? That's
Oh
what was
yes.
going on?
In fact, Themis was talking about that yesterday on his show.
Yeah. And there's a lot of articles, and the State Department has had to come out, because I think they said in 2023 alone, something like 24 of them has rounded up in the river dead, and in hotels.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
down
Wait.
there. And,
Say that again. Passport Bros did what now?
They were
okay,
killed, lured there,
a
and
lot of them
unalive.
too. And they said just in Colombia,
Wow.
Colombia alone. I'll read the article. Hold on, because it's a lot of different articles about it. But they were saying in Colombia alone, something like 23, 24 of them has been found dead and thrown over in the river in hotels. Let me just read this real quick. Passport bros beware. Men traveling to Colombia for love are ending up drug, robbed, or dead after being lured by women on dating apps. The U.S. Embassy in Colombia has issued a warning to American travelers regarding drug and phenomenon. The alarming trend involves incidents of robbery and overdose, and in some cases the use of online dating apps, often impacting U.S. citizens. One example, Steven Valdez. This is what, it's because of this dude. Not because of all them black dudes over there getting short. Steven Valdez, 31-year-old blogger who fell victim to one of these surreptitious assaults, the New York Times reported. While visiting South American country, he connected with a girl he matched on Tinder. The young lady offered him a taste of, I'm probably going to mispronounce, but ajico, a creamy Colombian soup. Despite witnessing her bring it from the restaurant counter to the table, he told the Times taking 2 spoonfuls of the soup was the last thing I remember. He realized that she had done something sinister to him when his lunch turned into an unexpected trip to the hospital. according to the doctors. Well, anyway, uh, there's a lot of different articles. Wait a minute. And hold on, let me pull up this other one. And these is, and I was ashamed to see white people reporting on this stuff. And this was the title on one of their articles: 8 passport bros killed in Colombia in the past 3 months. And they said it's up to 20 something in Medellin over there in Colombia. A growing number of men are traveling to foreign countries to meet submissive women who are less expensive and not too demanding. Now, this is from a white article. The term passport bros first appeared on TikTok and refers to men who use dating apps for hookups with women in other countries. Authorities say at least 25 passport bros were killed in Medellin, Colombia in 2023. 4 Americans were killed in Medellin alone. One person, 58-year-old Gregory Stewart Owens, was looking for love in Colombia when he was gunned down in the streets of Cartagena during a robbery in October of 2023. Owens was robbed of all of his belongings, including his watch and chain. Owens' family received his body back in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 2 weeks after he died. The U.S. State Department helped the family to cut through the red tape to bring his remains home. Here's another one. Johnny Jerome, 45, was found dead in a jacuzzi in a luxury hotel suite in Medellin on November 2nd. He was killed the day after celebrating his birthday with his cousin and 2 women he met on the dating app. Philip Mullins, a 32-year-old Tennessee man, was found dead in his room at an upscale million suites hotel in Medellin after the night out with a woman. Minnesota comedian, now this was the guy, the Asian dude who was found dead, and it started bringing eyes to it as this Asian guy died. I can't say his name. A high school valedictorian was found dead on October 11th in a ravine after he met a woman for a date. Song 45 was beaten to death with a blunt object. 4 people, including a minor, were arrested and charged with Song's murder. On November 13th, Texas resident Jeffrey Houston, and it goes on and on. And they're saying from all the articles that I read that this is just Colombia alone. They don't know how widespread this is. This is from Colombia alone. And I remember, and I'm like, these people, y'all are not familiar with Colombia? Y'all not familiar with this cartel?
That was when the cartel. Medellin is a lot of that. Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all not familiar with that? And you're meeting these women and you're looking for what they call it, fresh and fit.
Soft, sweet, and submissive. Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna do that because it's sad. And it's not just Colombia. They're being robbed, they're beaten and drugged in Dominican Republic and different people. And I always said, if this is what you're gonna do with your passport, you're looking for submissive, feminine, and fit women, and you want to go to these countries. Move in stealth. Move in quiet. They'll be all over the internet blasting this because you have a lot of people. You have these people in these countries, these men backing behind these women that will take advantage of you. They will drug, kill you, beat, and do anything to you.
Well,
Stop being so loud and boisterous about it.
But even if
when
they
you said that, Elisa,
quietly, they know that they're foreigners. That when they get there, they're gonna be set up anyway.
yeah. When you said that, Elisa, that's what I was wondering. Is that what is the men saying about these guys going over there dating their women, and then getting on social media bragging about it and all of that kind of stuff? And it looked
They're
like
doing just what I just said.
Yeah, it looks like it took some time, but it looked like people are responding to these guys making all these posts downing the
But I don't
American
think
women.
that Asian dude was doing all that. And then you see what happened to him when
No, he
they
wasn't
setting you
carrying on
up.
with it, but he still got caught up in it, though. He still got caught up in it.
Yeah,
He
because
wasn't
see,
online
they
bragging and
already
doing all
when
that.
you go. Oh, see, a lot of them are meeting these women online before they even get there, and they already
Yep.
got it set up for them when they get there. Okay, or they get there and they meet some woman in the bar on the beach or wherever they at. They gonna set them up. But guess what? Brazil has responded. American
Yep.
tourists have to prove they have $2,000 in their bank account,
Yeah. When
and they
come
have to
there.
have a
Yeah.
visa. See, before you didn't have to have a visa, and you didn't have.
But you gotta
But
have
so
it now.
all these little guys that are going over there with $400 and they can't get back because they missed their plane, and they have like $20 left in their pocket. They won't be able to go.
And Tyrone, I saw you just pulled up the Philippines, and I was just discussing Colombia. That was just Colombia alone. It's happening, and let me just
And
say
they
this.
say Mexico too. Listen, I was with
Mexico
this
too?
ex-CIA. This ex-CIA man. He's married with kids. He said he would not go to Mexico for no vacation. He said he named 4 countries not to go to. Of course, Russia was one, if you're a United States citizen, and Mexico was another.
Well, see, let me be full disclosure. I don't see anything wrong with people going out of the country and dating and all of that kind of stuff. But the way they're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
it, is just wrong. They have to make these videos, and say black women. See, like this guy right here, he said black women are celebrating the death of passport bros. That that
Yeah,
type of
see?
stuff, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And this,
Nobody's celebrating. We already was trying to tell them they being ridiculous. Listen, if you can't find a woman with all these women in this country, if you can't find someone to date or get married to, what makes you think you're going to be able to go to a foreign country and find that? And so they know they're not going there to find a wife. They're going there to take advantage of those poor women in those third world countries, so they don't have any remorse to what happens to them. It's like you're not coming here to do the right thing in the first place.
right.
They're going there for sex tourism. That's
Yep.
all there is.
Well, basically, yep.
And I remember sex tourism, and I remember saying, move in stealth. Is that if you want to travel out of the country and meet feminine, fit, and submissive women, keep your mouth shut. But their thing is they got to come online and tell black women how we ain't this and y'all ain't shit and y'all not feminine, fit, and friendly. They have to come and run us down and then look at the mess that you made.
And that's another side. And there's another side.
Men don't respect that.
There's another side for that
by anybody.
There's another side of that conversation, Alisa, is that not only are they saying that about American women, but what they're basically saying about the women that they're going to see is that they're cheap and all they want is money and all they have to do is flash. You see, so they really disrespecting everybody whenever they do that.
They're doing it bad on both ends. Keep your mouth shut and do it in stealth. White men have been taking part in sex tourism for decades,
forever.
decades, since forever. And they were not loud about it. They just did whatever they were going to do. But you all discovered in the new millennium that there's such a thing as a passport. Well, actually, they knew before that. And then you're loud about it. You're talking down on these women that all it takes is $5 for a date, and then you're saying the American women are all of this and that. You're loud, and it's not only that about the murders and things that's taking place. These countries they have the police and different things like that on these men when these black men show up like that. You're putting a target on your back, and you're having people. Why are you doing that? Shut your mouth and travel in stealth. And then
they have such low self-esteem. They have they lack confidence, self-confidence, and esteem because And if they was all about that, they would be moving in silence, and they wouldn't even
Do what you
care
gonna do.
about broadcasting or look at me, like that stupid one that went to the DR that Mrs. Planet couldn't get back. He was on there and showed the woman he's lying in bed with and he was so unattractive, and he had a grin from ear to ear. He had to show he's lying in bed with this Dominican woman. Okay, he just
Well, see, that's disrespectful.
screamed.
There, he put it on the YouTube.
That's this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and like
I
look
was
at
on
me,
there.
look at me, look. And
Look at what
the
I'm
woman
doing.
looked okay. I mean, she wasn't unattractive. She wasn't anything that you go, oh, she was a struggling woman, a young woman. Okay, it made him look so, and he thought he was about doing something. He thought he should be admired when he really looked pitiful.
It looks
Yeah,
bad.
And
it's really
then, and
sad that those guys are getting killed. Though I really don't. I mean, that's terrible that they're getting killed. But
I don't
oh
want
no,
that. I don't want
no,
that.
we don't want that. But hey, if you want to go and take advantage of people with very little opportunity to advance in life
People
that are
living in
poor,
people living in
th-
third world
th-
poverty.
thank you, poverty, and you think you can go over there and take advantage of them, and then you expect people to feel sorry for you?
But the thing is, the men in those countries and communities, they're not gonna allow it, but so long.
right,
Just because any kind of thing goes on in the black community here in the United States, they're not gonna allow that, but so long. And you're not thinking about the men in those communities. They're not gonna allow that but so long. And you're putting a target on your back. And if you wanna act like the white man and take advantage and get involved in sex tourism, then you do it like the white man. You keep
Right, with
your
some
mouth
real money.
shut.
You don't give a $5, okay?
And you keep your mouth shut about it.
Right.
You wanna
You
act
go over
like
there
them,
with
you
a
keep
whole.
your mouth shut.
That's right. Because one man, he was a white man, was talking about he felt sorry for this one young woman, and so he gave her like $100, okay, $200, and she didn't have to sleep with him or nothing. It's like, they ain't going over there trying to be chintzy cheap, but like the passport bros are, like that one man. Oh, he met some young woman. All I had to do was buy $20 worth of chicken, and we took him to her house, her family house, and they put him on the grill and $20 worth of chicken. Okay.
Those men over there,
oh
they
my
ain't got
goodness, y'all
nothing, but
crazy.
they're not gonna allow that. But
Yeah, I
so
mean,
long.
it
And
is. I
one of
wouldn't do nothing like that, but it is disrespectful to that woman that you're going to see and you're buying the $20 chicken for. That is just disrespectful. It's immoral. It's not right for these guys to be going over there just flaunting their little money that they done saved up
and
for about a
loud
year, and they're going to
And
blow
that
it
dude
all in
was
one
a
place.
longshoreman. He made good money, and he was running over there. He looked like he was probably in his late 40s. He was running over there to go get a 20-year-old woman and befriend her and go to. She'd take him to the store, and he bought. I mean, they bought a whole back then. $20 bought a whole lot of chicken, and then he met all the family, and they liked him, the father, and everybody, and they partied, and they grilled up the chicken, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is pitiful.
Yeah, guys,
do
and if
that.
y'all don't know what
That's
we're talking about,
disrespectful.
Elisa and Miss Lady brought to our attention that the passport bros, 8 in the recent months, but 20 over time. Over 20 have been killed, going over to
Last year
Colombia and other places,
in
doing
2023.
yeah. So that's
Remember when
terrible.
that black man went
Yeah,
there and he was he was going to have a restaurant and a barbecue, and he was trying to buy that building and kick out those tenants?
He got killed.
yeah. Let me just add something. I think you're mixing two things here, because passport bros do what they do, fine, but it's just traveling as a black person, period. And I go on a lot of cruises, a whole lot of them. I go like 3-4 years. And let me tell you, most black people do not know how to travel. They get out of the country and they flex and they floss, gold and all that stuff like that. Look, if you set yourself up like that, you're gonna get marked no matter where you go and no matter who you are. It ain't just passport bros. I see sisters go out there with gold, wearing all this jewelry and all this and that and the other thing, thinking that, I'm here in this port city, I'm safe. No, you're not. These people want what you got. I see dudes wearing brand new Jordans. I see dudes wearing, jerseys, basketball jerseys. They'll kill you for a basketball jersey in a lot of places. Why?
They will.
Because they can either wear it or sell it. So it's really more about, being smart about how you're traveling, period. Don't flex, don't floss, don't bring all that designer stuff and all that. Don't wear all your jewelry. You know how many stories I hear about people that bring their diamonds on cruise ships and lose them?
They get stolen.
Yes. Yeah. So what I'm saying though is, I think it's kind of
you're supposed to only bring costume jewelry when you travel.
Yeah. You don't bring it at all.
Jewelry.
You don't bring it at all because they can't tell the difference.
You don't bring anything. You don't bring anything.
You just go.
You don't bring.
Yeah. But the point is, Yeah. The point is, again,
you're going out to a nice restaurant to a dinner, and you might have some little costume you want to wear with your dress.
No.
You ain't rolling around.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. You're right about Americans and how we go out of the country, but these passport bros are a special case because they make it their business to get on social media, disrespect American women, and make videos in bed with other women while they buying $20 worth of chicken just to be happy.
Look, I don't want to get into that whole conversation because it just turns into a fashion session, and it does nobody no good. They do what they do.
It needs to be called out though because people are dying. People are dying doing this activity.
I don't know. I just say, look, if they know the risk, they know the risk for doing what they doing. They know the risk. This is not something that that is like, oh, I didn't know. No, you already know, bro. So let them suffer whatever they suffer. I just
have you paid attention to the passport bros on social media? Have you seen how many there are out there?
No, I don't pay attention to them. Look, Big J does. Big J fights some dudes all the time, man. And I'll listen to his shows from time to time. Shout out to Big J. But, I don't pay attention to him because I don't give a damn about him.
Whose show do you listen to?
Big J. Big J does shows about them all the time.
Can I say something to what he was saying as far as like Americans traveling? I haven't done a whole bunch, but I've done a fair amount. And I remember the first time I was traveling out of the country and we were going on like damn near a month-near tour through different countries in West Africa. And that was my first lesson that no costume jewelry, whatever kind of little earring you got in your ear, let that be it. No expensive clothes, no pocket, leave all that stuff at home. First of all, you don't need it. And then you can travel light and bring things back. But that was one of the first things that we learned. And my mother works in the travel business. And that's what she tells black people when they travel abroad at different places, especially to the Caribbean. If you're going to the continent, different places like that, leave that stuff home. Just have your regular generic T-shirt, shorts if it's hot, and leave that stuff at home. Do not bring attention because the moment you open your mouth, you're gonna bring attention to yourself. But try not to just have it like try not to have like a flashlight in your face. Leave that stuff. Not even costume jewelry. Leave that stuff. That's why she tells her people, leave that stuff at home. Try to blend in. When you open your mouth, they're going to know. But try to blend in as much as possible. Don't do that because you're setting yourself up. And
y'all are absolutely right.
I know some
but
guys.
I don't want to fear people off from tourism. Listen, there's certain, I think what Elisa and Joe is talking about is if you go into the civilian population and all these things like the passport. But if you're in resorts and you're on excursions with groups and stuff, you're a tourist. You're a part of it. Yeah.
And you go into, they have like the restaurants there, or if you're going to say like parts of Paris or, Italy or whatever, it just depends on where you're going and what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
It does depend on
Because
what
then
you
I
want.
traveled
But if
and
you
I had
know
my
you're
costume
going,
jewelry and I never had no problems. But I
but
certainly
it
wasn't,
depends on
uh,
depends on where
when I
you're
was
But
going.
these
married, my
these
ex-husband
passport
traveled, I
bros,
had my,
these passport
huh?
bros, they be
If you
going into the middle of downtown and just out there with the civilians hanging out, thinking they one of the people.
okay, I'll put it this way: if you're going to the DR, there's a lot of impoverished
Mm.
people there. You're not going to want to flash there, especially if you're
No.
leaving the resort. If you're going to leave the resort and mingle in around the people,
Right.
you want to try to leave that stuff as just t-shirt and jeans, because they're going
That's
to know when
true.
you open your
But the
mouth.
Dominican
They're going
But
to
Republic
they
know
say
got
you.
don't
flagged as
even
a
go and do all that. They said it's unsafe because I was in the DR years
Stay on the
ago,
stay
and
on the
and I
resort.
left
That's
the
what they
resort,
tell
and
you.
they were shocked that I left and jumped on this motorbike and went onto the town and went into some shops and stuff. They knew, and I had on shorts and a tank top, and my hair was in braids and stuff. But somehow they can tell.
oh yeah, they can
And
tell.
then people started trying
They
to
can
come
tell.
around and all this and buy this and buy. Time to go. I hopped right back on. That man was so nice on that motorbike. I really tipped him well, and we
Oh,
zoomed
and
down
one
the street.
thing that
You want
and
Miss
one thing
Lady, you
that
want
we
no
were
passport sis now, was you?
Oh God, no!
not in the DR,
People,
but and one thing that we were told, like when the children are begging, do not give anything. Do not give, especially when we were on the continent. Do not give anything. Any of the things that you're gonna give and donate to the villages and stuff, you allow the
mm-hmm.
tour people. You give it all to them, and you allow them to give it to whoever is the head of this village or whatever. Don't give things away. Don't give money. Don't give pens. They ask you for pens, paper, different. Do not give anything. You want to seem as though you really don't have anything while you're there to give. There's lots of it's people that teach you these things on how to conduct yourself when you're traveling abroad, especially the countries where you have a lot of impoverished people, and you need to learn these
Yeah.
things and know these things. And some of us don't. I know, and like the passport boys, they sure don't. They sure don't. They go and make a spectacle instead of
They
traveling
must be
and
really
But
out.
desperate.
but I
If
wonder
they're
who.
gonna risk their lives to go get a sex
But
like
no,
that, they
but see,
must be desperate.
psychologically, these guys got to be trying to prove something to somebody, and I wonder what they're trying to
To
achieve.
who?
I don't
Who are
know.
they trying to?
That's why they pull their phones out and make the videos. They trying to prove something to somebody. Um, so I
Yeah,
want.
Because
just
they
yeah.
can buy
In the
prostitutes
spirit
in
of hold
this
on.
country.
Yeah,
So what
in
are
the
they
spirit of
trying to
honesty.
prove?
No,
In the spirit of honesty,
these
brother.
prostitutes are not
Yeah,
submissive over in America. We need them
yeah,
submissive
yeah,
prostitutes.
brother. Yeah, in the spirit of honesty, brothers get robbed every day here too, for the same reason. Just in the spirit of honesty, I'm just saying. You know,
That's true.
it's not
That's
a
true.
locale thing. You know,
Are
And
they unalive though like that?
when the
yes,
girls, the women
you can get killed really quick over the wrong woman
yeah.
in America.
Wait a minute,
Absolutely.
ain't the Columbia where the guys they look like girls? Ain't that place?
Oh yeah,
I
there's a
wouldn't
lot
know.
of
You
that
got to ask
too. I
somebody
think
that's
a
been.
lot
I
of them
haven't
on
been.
the
I
down
don't know.
low too, and they're going to those foreign countries for that too, like Brazil and DR and everything too. I think they're doing that too.
But I seen a
And
special
so
on
they're in a different
television.
country, and they won't be found out. You see what I'm
I
saying?
seen a
They could
special
really
on
link you.
television where these the in the Central America where those guys that they're born male, but whenever they grow up they grow up as a woman and stuff, and you can't hardly tell the difference over there.
Where's
Well,
that?
It was somewhere in
I
Central
don't know
America.
about that. But let me
I
say,
don't
it's not
know.
just the guys. It's not just the guys that get robbed here in the United States every day. The black girls do too. Because I
Yes,
know
they
my
do.
cousin and them, they be all over the place with their designer bags, designer sunglasses, and be robbed before they get home. They're just lucky that they weren't robbed at gunpoint and got killed. So they get robbed. The women do too. They get robbed
You know,
too.
I've gotten to where the only jewelry I wear now is my watch, which is like 25 years old, and I might have some little earrings in my ear, and that's about it. I ain't wearing. I'm not wearing no bunch of gold chains and no big bling bling ring. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. They had one, and I thought, oh, that's beautiful. It was in Costco, I remember, and it was a big, beautiful aquamarine. The blue was beautiful. They had like two or some diamonds on the side, and it was not really expensive. And I'm like, oh. And then I said, nah, just leave it there. You're not going to get shot behind some ring from Costco, okay? I'm not going to get my hand chopped off over, no. No.
No, it ain't
But
worth
they
it.
get
If you're
robbed
going on vacation, just go over there to enjoy yourself and not flash.
and
You
leave
know,
don't flash, leave that stuff
Because
home.
yeah.
Leave it
the
home.
crime rate has gotten crazy where I live. It's off the charts. People are, I mean, they doing all kind of stuff. They ramming into the ATM machine at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning with a truck, dragging the ATM machine down the street. They holding up people. They're assaulting.
Well,
You living in the Wild West? You living in the Wild West, this lady?
It's
like
no,
over there.
but it's gotten they're going up into the very expensive, non-black areas and committing crimes now, following folks home, and as they trying to get it out of their cars into their garage, they're pulling behind them and rushing up on them. They're rushing up on people at the stoplight and pointing the gun at. I mean, it's getting crazy.
Yeah. You know that old saying that Dylan just said, when they asked him why he robbed banks, he said, because that's where the money is. So, I mean, you're going to do the same time whether you rob poor folks or rich folks. So guess who they're going to go to? Rich folks. So, that's where the money is. But I just say, if you want to, talk about getting real about these things, look up the story of Merlin Santana, the guy Romeo from the Steve Harvey Show. And I tell you, you can get just as dead here, over the wrong woman as anywhere else. I'm not giving the passport bros a pass.
We can draw similarities.
But I'm just saying,
We can draw the
do
similarities,
what they do.
but
they know the consequences.
Yeah, we can draw the similarities, but the reason that these passport bros made headline, and there's a lot of newspapers speaking about it, is because of their attitude on social media and what they're bragging about on social media. And that's the reason that, but I agree with you. There's a lot of stuff over here that's just as bad as what we're saying now. But these guys, I mean, you said you didn't watch it, but these guys get crazy.
They're losers. That's the only thing they think that they can brag about in their life. They're loser dudes. But I'm sorry.
But you got to understand your argument. If they're losers, then what do you care anyway?
It's not that. It's just that they're made headlines by it. Now they're getting killed by doing the things they're bragging about.
Yeah, like I said, they know the risk. They know the risk.
And
let them do what they do.
They're dragging African American women. So we can respond.
No, I didn't say you couldn't respond, but I'm just saying if they're losers, then it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, it's not
you're never going to date them anyway.
I'm not shedding tears, but it is something that is in the public domain, and it's something that's being talked about, and they are dragging black women, so we have every right to talk about it. And we're not going to, and we should not be questioned as to why we are.
Well,
I'm just saying they know the risk for what they do, and so just like those folks that travel to Afghanistan and places like that, they know the risk for what they do, and so.
But they're not on social media.
People that accept that risk.
They're not on social media dragging their folks and comparing their folks to Afghan people. I mean, you see, there is a difference.
Well, let me say this. Even with all the dragging and tearing up black women that goes on, that's the thing. That's what they do. They drag the hell out of us. But I will say this.
And they're trying to reduce our social status, or they're trying to really harm how other people perceive us. as well as
They're
their own,
trying.
as well as black people, and
Now I
especially
understand.
young black people, and it can
Now
affect young women's self-esteem. And if they
yeah,
really believe that crap,
I agree with you. They're dragging our parents. They're dragging everything, and they're trying to tear us down in front of the world to make us look like the lowest of the low. I get that.
and why do you think
I
that
get
is? I
that.
think it's because they
And
feel
it's
like losers
well,
underneath. They know they
now
haven't measured up, and so they want to tear down black women. I really
no,
believe they're
I agree.
projecting.
But but
I
I don't
agree
think
that
that they
it's
have the power to
projecting.
tear down black women. I
No,
think
Joe,
that
No,
you
I
it's,
think
missing
that
it.
Well,
You missing it,
yeah.
brother.
you're
They,
missing
Hold
the
on, let me.
point.
No, hold on.
well, let
Listen
Joe
what
go
I'm
ahead.
saying.
Go
Listen
ahead,
what I'm
Joe.
saying here. Yeah. I don't think that a guy that's obviously going to a third world country for sex because he's not hiding what he's doing, has the power to tear down a black woman. I think that black women have a lot more power than that, a lot more presence than that. Now, if somebody buys into that, they were already sold from the beginning. But at the end of the day, I think that people that have faith in and believe in black women will always have faith in and believe in black women. I don't think that a knucklehead
I
going to a third world country
You
has that
think? Do
kind
you
of power.
think
But I
Trump?
could
Do
be
you
wrong. I
think
could be
Trump
wrong.
has? Do you think Trump's rhetoric spread like wildfire, and then some people have really bought into it? See, I think you have to call it out. You have to call out this dysfunction and these lies real fast
no,
and let people know, because there are
I
young people that are listening to this mess and they are embracing it. They don't know any better. Young girls and young boys. There was a teacher
I
that she asked her, it was a white woman, asked her class, and they were like sixth graders, how many of you know who Andrew Tate is? And over half the class raised their hand.
I agree. I agree with you. They are. It's dysfunction and it's destroying the minds of young men. I agree with you that it's destroying the minds of young men. And each generation, they get caught in that trap from the older ones, and it's destroying their minds. Not all of the young men, but too many. And it's tearing up the self-esteem of a lot of young girls. Not all of the young girls, but too many. And I do agree with Joe that it's not completely tearing down our image, but it's doing a pretty good job. But it's not completely tearing down our image. I don't think they don't see. Let me finish. They don't see themselves as other people see them. So when they're doing that, they're not really seeing themselves. They don't have a real good sense of self as how they're coming out. So I think it's a mixed bag that's going on. But even with all of that, I felt bad I felt bad to hear that all of these homicides have taken place. And it's not just Colombia. It's over in the Philippines. It's Mexico. It's the DR. I felt bad to hear that. And I tell you why. Because I am a black woman first. I'm about black women first. But I don't want this for our men. I don't want this for them. Because too many of them, like the passport bros and the ones who do this, they don't have a good sense of self. They don't really have any idea of how they are appearing to other people and other communities and other races of people. They have no real good sense of self. And that's why I'm saying, if you're going to do that, do it in stealth. Keep your mouth shut. That is extremely deplorable to take part in sex tourism. That's a deplorable thing. But if you're going to do it, keep your mouth shut about it. And the reason that they don't, they have no sense of self. They don't realize how other people see them. You're taking part in sex
They'll
tourism.
just say they're jealous of them.
Wait a minute, let me say. One guy that I saw, he was every bit of 40-something. And he was in, I think it was Thailand. I think it was in Thailand. And he was taking pictures. And he was like, look at my new girl here. And that child, even with all of the lipstick and all done up, she couldn't have been no more than 14. And I'm like, black man, don't do
Oh my
that.
goodness.
And he was like, and look at the woman that I have tonight, and she's all done up, and I know that child couldn't have been over. I know she wasn't over 15. Don't do that. You have no sense of self. You don't see how people see you. That is deplorable. And I don't understand why, if you're going to take part in deplorable behavior, I'm not trying to help them. I'm not trying to help. You shouldn't be doing this deplorable. But keep your damn mouth shut about it. White men have been doing this since the beginning of forever. And they don't conduct themselves when they're doing that deplorable behavior. But you won't go out and announce it to the world. And it's tearing down your image. No matter what you say about me, no matter what you say about black women, it's tearing down your image because you don't have any sense of self and how you look. And that's the problem. That's why I felt bad when I heard about this. Y'all going over there, now people making jokes, and they went over there, they met, and one of the jokes I heard, they met Feminine, Fit, and Fatal. Oh, they went over there and bought a ticket to the upper room. I don't want people to make jokes about, stuff like that. It's not funny, Miss Lady. I don't want people to make, I don't want, that's not funny. That's not funny. Rest in peace, Miss Mahalia. That's not funny. I don't want people making jokes.
Well, I hadn't heard that one. It just kind of hit me. But you're right about they're tearing down the black male image. Not only our image, but and more so theirs. But see, I'm just really concerned about the younger people that are following and listen to all this foolishness and think that's the way to go. Because let's be honest, black people have a lot of problems. They are not in a social economic position to have, as you say, a lot of people are lacking, okay? They don't have the family structure, community structure. They're in poverty. They're barely making it. There's a lot of stresses. And so we don't need that on top of everything else. And, I think it's going to get worse because the economic conditions are just becoming worse and worse globally, and I think they'll be targeted even more so.
And I don't want that. I don't want that.
The news is, guys, nobody is cheering on these unfortunate deaths across seas. But Joe, check this out, man. These guys made big waves on social media as they got out here and represented where they was going and doing what they was doing, and
they was ripping.
And people was trying to warn them politely, look, that's not a good look, and I guess, these people that they're going over there to see, they're not having it no more with them getting on social media bragging about this stuff. Now, that's just my assumption. But
I get you, Tyrone. I get you, but I also think that that sensationalism sells. Train wrecks sell. Not trains getting to stations on time. And I think that this is a symptom of a larger problem rather than, being the end-all be-all problem itself. I said this a while ago on one of the after shows. Think about it now. You're 14, 15, 16, right? You're just coming into yourself. Pardon the noise, by the way. I can't help it. But you're just coming into your puberty yourself and you're becoming aware of the other sex. When I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I'm going to high school. And my little high school girlfriend, we could go get a slice of pizza, for a couple of bucks, and maybe go to a movie on the weekend that cost me all of maybe, $20, $30 at the most. But we've made the price of dating so high now that young men and young women are finding it really impossible to get together because it costs so much. A movie now for two people would cost upwards of $50 straight up, right? Yeah. Dinner, $100 right off the rip. Now, if you're a little guy, a young guy working at a minimum wage job, you will not be able to afford to date. So if you are denied that experience in your teens and early 20s, then I believe that yes, you become one of those passport bros because you were never given the experience of black love at a most innocent level.
Well, yeah,
I
I mean
agree.
that's
I agree.
unfortunate
But
that
then,
things are so
okay, do
high
what
now.
you do, but don't be dragging black women because you didn't have the economics to
But what
date.
Joe is saying, they
Okay.
don't know no better, and it's just like it's a symptom of the society we living in. These guys are getting out here being ignorant, and especially what bothers me is they praise that, or they want submissive women and all this kind of stuff, and then they're not able to evolve in this society to know that people change from being wearing skirts to church and being Bible followers, and they got their own independence, and then women just don't act like that no more. They just don't. They're not
In
submissive.
this country, you gotta listen. You gotta pay to be the boss. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't pay to be the boss,
Yeah, but
if you
then
want to be,
you
if you want to have white male patriarchy in your home, then you better have some white male patriarchy money. Okay. And be
but the
ready,
danger of that
ready
is
to
love becomes
take care of
transactional.
your family.
Go ahead.
Otherwise,
Yeah, the
forget
danger.
all of that
Yeah,
submissiveness. That's foolish anyway. You
the
better be
danger of
trying to
that
get
is
you a
love becomes
partner.
transactional.
What you mean by that?
What, transactional?
Yeah. Why you mean? What you
I
mean? Love
agree.
become transactional?
I
Because
agree with that.
just what she said, you have to pay to play. Again,
Oh.
I grew up in a time where I had girlfriends growing up in high school. I got to know and understand black love as a young man. So it became common and thing that I seek as an older man. But if you deny people that experience, then yes, love becomes transactional.
No,
You pay
Well,
to
listen,
play.
listen. There's a whole era.
everything's
I'm gonna call him.
transactional. Everything's transactional. Quid pro quo. Otherwise, you're a doormat
Right,
and
but
you'll be run over.
what I'm talking about is this era of Kevin. I'm gonna call it the Kevin Samuels era, right? Where a woman is supposed to be a certain weight, supposed to listen to a man a certain way, and supposed to do certain things for a woman, for a man, and supposed to stay home or what. That type of woman is what these guys are looking for, and they feel like they find that whenever they go to Colombia or Central America or wherever they go to, they feel like they find that in that woman that's not an American,
The
you know.
prostitute, they find that in the prostitute.
No, but can I say something, guys? I hear
Yeah.
what Joe is saying. I don't know when he went to high school, but when I was in high school, again in the 90s, and you had your little boyfriend, and if we go on a date, we used to go to, I don't know if where you all live, did y'all have Chesapeake Bay Seafood House? You could go and you could get all you could eat for like $20-something.
Yeah.
And a little young man, he got his little job. He could pay for that. And then next time you go to the movies, he could pay for that, or I would pay for
Yeah.
that. But
And buy you
nowadays,
some popcorn.
yeah, but nowadays, these young girls, they want to go to Ruth's Chris, and these young boys, they can't afford that. They can't afford that. So I feel what Joe is saying. It's different now. And
But
how
even a
dating
movie is expensive, Elisa. If you
I
go
know, that's what
like
I'm saying.
and you see Dolby on the weekend and buy popcorn and a drink, I mean,
You look at that $60.
easily.
That's just the movie. That's just the
And
movie.
so, and if you have a minimum wage job, so it all goes back to greed, corporatocracy. People don't have a living wage with benefits.
I agree.
Well, I know
You could
ABC
also
ain't. I
go
know
to what?
ABC ain't no passport, bro. But he's in the chat room saying that women, y'all can be taken on a date to McDonald's to cut costs.
If you're in middle school, yes. If you're in middle school, I mean, but let's don't do that. Let's just running one another down, talking about stuff
Them
like
middle
that.
school kids ain't
We
even
need
want to
to
go to
talk-
McDonald's on no date.
No,
They,
they're not
know,
going to
yeah.
McDonald's because a lot of them their parents don't even take them to McDonald's because that's
Well,
wanna say.
the bottom line is this economy and society has just gotten too expensive. Joe pointed
It
that out.
just has changed.
Yeah, it's
just
ridiculous.
changed.
It is
It's
too
just
expensive
different.
and it's shameful.
It is just
And it's really
ridiculous,
wrecking.
and
It's wrecking
changed.
society. It's wrecking
I agree
society.
with you. So it's a
You know,
bigger
there's not
picture to
enough.
it.
Yeah,
And
I could just trace everything back to greed. I'm sorry. It's just,
I feel,
you
and I
know,
do
they
feel
should be
sorry for
able
the
to
young
take
men.
a woman out on a date and not be embarrassed and struggling and sweating and,
And I had
you
to
know,
spend their mortgage, and I had to spend your rent money on it just for one little date. And I agree with that. And I do feel sorry for the young men because how things are now. I do feel for them how things are than how they used to be. But it's a bigger picture of why things are this way now. But this is the problem. You have the older set of guys with this Kevin Samuels and this Bastion and this Red Pill and the Manosphere. Then they get a hold of these young guys who's going through what Joe was saying, how it's not the way it was when he was young, and then they feel a certain way, and then, well, it's the women's fault. The women is the one that's bad. The women is the one that caused this. I hate, and they ain't no good, and the dragging, and the bashing, and the fighting. That's what caused that. And I blame
Lisa,
the
you got
older
it.
men. I blame the older men for messing up the psyche and the mind of the next group that's coming up. And then the women, I will have to say, you have some of the older women, they're not doing it in the same way, but because women are not the same as they used to be. It's about go to school, get your, move to the top, break that glass ceiling. So people are just different. They're just different. But then you're destroying the mind of the younger ones that's coming up. That's the problem.
Well, see, and we're talking like old people up here, but young people, they got other things that they do with the FaceTiming and the video chats and the gaming. They've got a whole lot of other things that they do that we didn't even consider coming up, and that's part of the courting process too nowadays. Seem like.
Well, I don't know how they do it. I just, I don't know. I feel bad for them.
but it's so
The younger
expensive
people
to
that's
go
coming
out
up.
to
I feel bad
anything,
for them.
a concert, a play, the movies, out to dinner. It's very
And I don't.
expensive
They probably
now.
don't have school dances and things. Well, I was in high school in the '90s, so they probably don't have school dances and stuff like that anymore. I don't know. I don't have children. I don't have anybody.
I
in
don't
school.
know either.
I don't
It's probably
think they
too
have that
dangerous
anymore.
now. Probably
Well,
too
yeah, it
dangerous.
probably is. I went to an all-girls school. But
They'll
we used to
probably
go to
have,
the dances
those
at the all-boys
proms.
school.
Yeah, but either
Like
way,
those
Some
proms.
still had a
those
prom.
passport bros, they missed that part of what we're talking about here, and that's probably why they in the
Yeah.
predicament that they in, I guess.
But some of them are older, though, because I was reading an article, some of them in their 50s and 40s, and they should know better. And they all caught up in this manosphere stuff, and it's getting them killed. And that's not good.
Well, all it takes is one divorce to turn a guy like that, and I can speak from experience
you're
in
right.
that
That's a
regard,
good point.
because some people hang on to
That's a
anger a
good point.
long time. And so, we're living in a society where, divorce is common. And so for the craziest of reasons, and usually that reason is what? Irreconcilable differences, whatever that may mean. That's just a catch-all for, I just don't feel like being married today. And so you can do that. There was a time when you couldn't use that. But then again, those were different times. But all it takes is a bad experience to the wrong person for them to carry that anger forever. And so it creates a void that the Tommy Sotomayers and the Kevin Samuels and all those guys can get and exploit. Just like the preachers that exploit women that become their boyfriend in the church. If you can fill a void with something, people will go for it. Just like Trump is filling a void in white people, about missing the ability to be a racist and be cool with it,
And some black folks, Joe, now can you explain that?
Yeah. So I don't know about them black folks. I think they smoke crack or something. But I'm just saying, when there's a void, there's always a hustler that can fill that void, and usually they fill it with the wrong thing. But I guess as older people, the best thing we could do for younger people is to give them examples of why being a passport bro is not a successful path to take. It's a placebo. It's a high calorie, low nutrition path to take in life. In life, what you want is to have a relationships with women that are fruitful, positive, and that spawn black families. And you're never going to get that as a passport. You're never going to get a wife that's going to live up to what you pay for. Your wife will never, ever be the woman that you just paid for. Never, ever. So you have to learn to live with, people's faults,
you touching on
people's
something,
issues,
Joe.
and all of those things.
Well,
Huh?
people just don't know how to get along. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to
Right.
give and take.
They bring
Because
their
relationships are
issues
work.
that they haven't dealt with to the relationship.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the man's expecting the wife to be his mother, and he's reenacting, a lot of his unfulfilled needs. Maybe he thinks from his childhood and projecting that onto the wife. And here she is. I mean, it's like, I ain't carrying that load. You need to go
Yeah.
talk to your mama or go get some counseling, and vice versa. The lady, she never had a father in her life, or she might have had an abusive father in her life, so she had abandonment issues or whatever, And so it's a lot of issues, along with all of the other problems Black people have to deal with just making it through life.
Well, it's a lot of work in a
That's true.
relationship now. It's a lot of work, and
It's
people
a
think
whole
that it's
bunch.
like a walking
And
stroll in
It
the park,
really
but it's
should,
not.
to me, if it takes a whole lot of work, it's not worth it to me. I don't want any relationship that takes a whole lot of work. I don't care who it's with.
Well, yeah, and that's
but
fine.
it
But
takes work though.
some people are willing to put in the effort and actually, live that way, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. This it's just who you.
But it usually goes bad when one person is not willing to put in no more work, and then one person is still trying to put in the work. You have a problem. But I want
Right.
to say this: it's not just our community, the white community. They talk about those red pill dudes, and they have another word that they call them. And that's why. And I was listening to these people were talking about it. Forget which news thing it was online, and they were talking about because they have a bad problem with that in their community. The difference between their men that's acting like that, the black men, they're very loud with it, and they come on and tab. It's all of the women's fault. Not saying that the red pill in the white communities, because every community have them, the Asian community, but I was just with white people were talking about it, that a lot of these men has never had any physical contact, not really, with the opposite sex. And they end up online on a lot of these Reddit posts and these different things like that. And that's why a lot of them turn MAGA. They've never had any type of physical contact. Some of them have never had sex with women, and they turn mean. They end up down these rabbit holes with these different groups and conspiracy theories and things like that. And some of them turn out to be, they go out and shoot up the mall, or they go out and they do things. So they are afraid of theirs too. Theirs can be extremely dangerous. But they talk about theirs too, how they need to have more services out here for men that find themselves acting like this and find themselves on these Reddit posts and down these rabbit holes, and this anger is coming out. So it's not just our community that got it. Ours seem to be loud and dusty with it, but the other communities have it as well, and that stuff can turn dangerous. It really can. It can
Well,
turn
You're
yeah,
right.
dangerous.
There's an epidemic of loneliness in men.
well, yeah,
The
Men,
psychologists
yeah,
are talking about it,
about that
and
now.
that's a
Yes,
real big problem. And they're talking about how to
yes.
address it. Well, I say it all goes back to greed, because they wouldn't be lonely if they had relationships, and if they had enough money and made
yep.
enough
That's
money,
exactly what I was
they
getting ready
would
to
they
say.
would. Okay, as
Yep.
I'm saying, it just all goes back to greed.
Yep. If they gave them something to do, they wouldn't be able to sit up there and get me
Yeah.
chat rooms.
They
And
would be out
Carol, I'm
having
like this.
fun with young women and having fun,
And
going on a
and
vacation, going out to
but
eat,
they would
going
say that
bowling, going to a movie,
a
a
lot of
concert. Yeah.
but they were saying the problem with a lot of men in all races, they don't know how to make friendships or to connect and keep lasting friendships like women do. Women are different when it comes to engagement with each other. And they were saying a lot of men, because how they're raised, they're not good at engagement.
No,
They're
they're
not
not.
good at keeping long lasting friendships. But that plays a role. Is how young boys are being reared and how they're being raised. Women are more engaging with one another. Women can establish friendships. Women will keep long lasting friendships a little more easier and a little more effortlessly than men do.
Well, yeah, you can hear
That's playing a role.
you can hear the immaturity of men on this line in some past conversations. Cause like whenever Miss Lady would call in or Maze or whatever, you can hear the guys say, "Well, don't you realize you talking to me? I'm a man. You ain't gonna talk to me that way." Mr. Solutions does that. it's it's weird to hear them say that. You listen to that woman talking to me like that. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? She's not gonna talk to me like that. I don't
It's
get it.
Well,
the rearing. It's a lot of it. It's the rearing, and women are reared different. We can get into a group, have friends, and next thing you know, the girls is going out. And not to say some men are like that too,
yeah,
but
they
on
are.
average, some of them are like that too. They have friends. They be doing the thing. They out here sociable. A lot of them are like that. But on average, men are reared different. That's what the experts are saying. This is not my words. This is what the experts are saying. Women gravitate towards experiences. They gravitate towards, interactions and things with other people, other women, a little bit more effort, a little more easily, effortlessly, more so than men because
Yeah,
of the way they were raised. And
yeah.
maybe we
Probably
need to
the
start looking
probably
at
the probably the men
how
that's not on social media has got better sense than these guys that find themselves on social media. They probably
I
don't even
would
come on.
probably so, Tyrone.
Mhm.
Probably so, Tyrone.
Yep.
Probably so. And that's the thing that we need to look at. If you have little boy children, maybe the way how you deal with them, how you come at them a little different and help them to become more engaging
Right.
and to help them to become more affable to other people. Instead of, well, you're a man. You don't show your feelings. Button it up, zip it up, look up the upper lip, that type of stuff.
Can,
Yeah.
can
No.
I ask a question?
Engage with them.
I don't listen to like rap or whatever that the young people are
Me either.
listening to. What are they promoting in their music now?
Oh, it's
I
it's
don't
all
know.
I
it's
don't know.
all it's all vile and cussing and nasty and sex and all that kind of stuff. But I don't mind those
Okay.
lyrics. it's not
Well, this
all
is
that
the
it's not
thing.
all that way, but there's a lot of it.
Well, I don't think that's good for young people to listen to, especially those that don't have good examples of how to have healthy relationships and how to think about themselves and other people. I think it's very detrimental.
I would agree. It probably is. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of that stuff, so I couldn't tell you. I know how rap was when I was in school. It wasn't. Some of it was bad, but it wasn't like what I think it is now. And then
No,
some of
it was
the
nowhere
girl,
near
the
what it
girl,
is now. Now you
and
got
some
people
of the
like
girl
Sexy Red
rappers,
and
and child, they would, you wouldn't be allowed to listen to.
Oh,
But
yeah, she made that record. It is very, Lord. I guess she
I
don't
mean,
have
and it's like
parents, huh?
I don't know. I don't really know. I know who she is, but I don't know much about her. But it was bad when I was in school, but it wasn't, it was a lot of misogyny, you know.
it won't
But
vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
but now it's just,
It's
like
vulgar.
I was telling
It's
my
nasty. It's
brother,
graphic.
he's
They're
he's
just
getting. I was telling my brother he's getting old because he said it's all feels, it's all feels. And I said, well, okay. He said, yes, all feels, it's all feels. And he won't let anybody listen to it around him. But I said, well, you sound like an old man. He's like, I don't care. You should listen to some of that stuff. It's all feels. I said, okay, I take your word
Yes.
for it.
Oh, I believe it. Well, so they have a lot to deal with, you know,
They do.
all this
They do.
programming, and all this foolishness and dysfunction, And the promotion of materialism, so that makes people feel bad. They don't have
Well,
what they see other people have on social media, even though half of it's probably not theirs
But think
anyway.
of, okay,
So,
I ask all of you on here, think about this. I don't know what all went on you or went to high school. I was in the 90s. But we all went pre-social media. I can say that.
yeah,
We all went pre-social media. Can you imagine? I remember when I was in high school, if something happened, it would get around the whole school, right? It would get around
yep,
the whole school. I went to an all-girls school. It would get around the whole school, and our brother's school, it would get around there. That's about it. Can you imagine if something happened in school back then, and somebody had a phone, and they recorded it and put it up on social media, and the whole world could see it?
world.
I couldn't conceive.
yeah, that person with the
That.
phone
I
would get
couldn't.
in trouble.
Yeah, but
But
even if they don't
they
get in
just
trouble,
had
can
those
you
those
imagine?
people
But can
in
you
front of
imagine
Congress.
that? But
Did you
can you
see that with
imagine
Mark
that?
Zuckerberg and the other folks, and they were grilling him, the parents of that girl that committed suicide, because that's exactly what happened. She was 15 years old, was
And that
livid.
happened. But can you all imagine going to school and you got all of that? We didn't have that when we were in school.
No.
So I couldn't imagine if something happened, I got into a fight, somebody beat me up in school, and somebody recorded and put it up. It's out there forever. So when we were in school, you got beat up in school. Everybody who saw it was standing there, saw it, you know, because we had cell phones, but we had cell phones we had cell phones, but not like what we had. I used to have the Nokias and stuff like that. You had no phones, you had no cameras and stuff on that.
I remember
But I couldn't
Nokia.
imagine. Yeah, that's what we had, like the Nokias. But I couldn't imagine going to school if something happened and it get put on the internet and the whole world can know. I couldn't imagine going. And I saw some other people who I went to school, we was talking about that. Could y'all imagine? Do you remember when such and such? I remember we got beat up at the skating rink. And somebody said, could you imagine? Could you imagine when y'all got jumped at the skating rink, got beat up, and somebody recorded that, put it that online? I don't know if I could stand that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. There's a lot
that.
of psychological stress for these kids. To have their information
They're so very stressed.
immediately broadcast like that.
And then the other ones that are real studious, their parents got them up to so much pressure to make straight A's and be involved in about 10 different activities and be the president of that and on the debate team. And it's just too much pressure on folks. I'm sorry, these young people.
It's just, I don't know how they do it. I'm glad I don't go to high school now. I just couldn't conceive of that. I couldn't conceive of, because that's what I hear a lot of people say. Could y'all imagine when we was in high school and social media? No. Because like I'm saying, I remember me and two of my girlfriends, we got jumped and beat up at the skating rink. And I'm going to say it because they was jealous. And we got beat up at the skating rink.
Well, see, Elisa, back on the other topic at the same time.
I couldn't imagine if that was on social media. Huh?
Well, see, back on the other topic at the same time, you had these guys that couldn't express themselves, sitting in their rooms angry all the time, and there was no way. But now they got cameras and cell phones. These same type of lonely
and they
individuals.
Sexually frustrated. I think that's a lot of it too.
Yeah,
they're sexually frustrated,
and now they can get on the camera
and
in their room by themselves and yell at a phone.
They don't see no way out because
they don't. So I feel
it's sad.
That's why I do feel for them. I feel for them.
I do too. Actually,
it was different when we were coming up, and then you got all this now, and it's never going away. Once it's out there, it's never going away. And I'll tell you guys, we got beat up bad, and I would not want to keep seeing that. I want to keep seeing that. That's a memory. You laugh about it. You go, yeah, we got our ass kicked, and you move on. You move on, and they were jealous. So, but the young kids, they got so much more on them, and
And
so
they
glad I
certainly
don't have
don't need
to.
all this foolishness that's going to make their lives even worse. Being programmed to think of girls and women a certain way. They're hurting themselves,
Yeah,
It's hard
they're
enough.
hurting
They need
themselves.
to be as mentally and emotionally healthy as they can be, and that's not it.
That's not it. But the country is not putting money into the people with no health. They don't want to do health care. They could care less about mental health care. They don't care anything about your housing, your this. The country, the
I
government does
know.
not put money back into
Nope.
the people. Like some of these other countries, they're smaller. They're smaller countries, but they have health care. They have great schools. They pay for colleges, and the people just seem a little bit. They got their issues. I'm not going to say they don't, but you have a little more stability in the society. The United States is
You don't
cold
see
today,
the homeless like you see here. They
Nope.
have like you said, they have high taxes, but they get a lot of benefits from paying taxes.
The people get the benefits back. They put the money back, some of the money back into the people, and I think that's what taxes should be for. Yeah, we got to pay for everything else around. You got to pay. We have a lot of taxes got to go to pay for. But so much of money we sending and doing for other things that they don't have money to do a child tax credit, but they got billions to send to Israel. They don't have the money to help the people out a little bit more with the student loans, but they got billions to send this over to the Ukraine. They don't have the money to do this, to put back into the people, and I think that would really help. They don't have money to pay the teachers more and put more into the schools. They make out like they don't have the money. Like in our state, community college is free. Community college should be free across the whole country, but they don't want to put the money back into the people.
And state schools should be affordable. Now it's really expensive now to go to. It's a lot less than private school, but it's still really expensive for a lot of people to even go to the state colleges.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
let me hip you guys up
ridiculous.
to something. Let me hip you guys up to something. As a young man, the hardest hurdle to cross is going to a woman you do not know, a strange woman, and saying, "Hello, my name is." You guys cannot imagine how stressful that is as a young man. I mean, it's beyond anything, Now, I say this because, just go up to a woman you don't know. You don't know her. She's not related to you. She's not part of your family and not a friend. Somebody you happen to look at and say, okay, I'm attracted to her. You walk up to her and say, "Hello, my name is, and your name is, and how are you?" That is so hard. Oh, my God. I think every man can remember the first time he did that. But the point being, again, is as an older man, we had places and opportunities to do that, whereas younger people are quick to use social media and skip that step. That step is so important. Oh, my God, to gaining confidence in yourself. And so when you take that away, when you don't give, young people that opportunity, or when they're deprived of that opportunity for one reason or another, then you end up with, transactional relationships on men and women's side. Where women is like, well, if you don't have no money, don't talk to me. And guys are like, well, I'm going to go with, where my dollar goes the furthest. So you get these strange situations that we're encountering now. But we have to go back to giving young people that opportunity to make that step. That's the first step. Before we get families, kids, black love and all, it starts right there. And, if we're not giving them that ability, I think we're kind of cheating them in a way.
I agree. I agree with that. That's a step. Those are steps that everybody are supposed to take and everybody should have. I agree with you 1,000% on that. And it's been taken away. And because it's been taken away, people don't know how to act. They really don't. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to communicate with one another. You've given me a lot to think about on this phone tonight. You really have things I haven't even thought about. A lot to think. And now I feel even worse for the younger people. I do.
Oh, glad you give me something to think about too.
It's just It's unhealthy, and it's just not going to be doable. And they know
I
it.
agree.
And nothing happens. It just happens. I think it's just, and all of this is intentional. With they have their plans laid out, and
I agree.
I just it's just sad to me.
I agree.
A
And
lot
Joe
a
done
lot of
made me
people.
sad. He made me sad. Joe made me sad because you got me thinking about stuff I probably have thought about, but didn't put much thought into it. And
Yeah.
it makes me, it does make me sad. But then the next time I'm called a bitter bitch online, then I'm like, you just better say that.
You not
all about
you
that.
not soft and submissive.
Soft and submissive, you bitter bitch. And then I'm like, okay, see, you know. Oh, gosh. But you need to get grounded. Joe, you helped ground me here tonight. You did.
Well, that wasn't
But
my intention, but I'm glad we found some common ground here.
Yeah, we found some common ground, but
Yeah.
somebody, I'll be like, oh, well, I
And
don't
we
think
learned
such and such and such. They learned some stuff, but then you'll be called, you bitter bitch, you such and such. That's why nobody wants you. And then it's like, okay, we back adversaries, you know. But I try not to be adversary, and I try to see things from other people's point of view. And I don't want to turn into some of these other women out here who just got daggers out, because we in a sense, as black people, we kind of all we got, and too many of us have forgotten about that. I try to stay centered. I do.
There's a show they go in. Oh my God! Like, whoo! They go in on the men. They go in on them.
You to a Deborah show?
Yeah.
To a Deborah show?
Deborah's funny. No, these.
Yeah, I know Deborah. I know Deborah for years and years.
No, they nothing like Deborah. They, ooh, Lord. I'm not gonna say.
I think I know who you talk. Now, I think I know who you talking about. I think I know. And they be saying things like bully bag.
Yeah.
Is that who you talking about?
Yes.
Okay, I can't listen to that. I did listen to see what it was that they were talking about. I can't listen to that. I cannot listen to that.
I can only listen for a few minutes because it's just too much for me.
Well, who the hell y'all talking about?
Don't say.
I'm not gonna say. Maybe you can tell them later, because it's not nice. They ain't nothing.
I'll tell you later, Tyrone. But
That's
I
fine.
have heard about them, and I said, oh, well, let me go see what they're talking about. And when I sat back, I was like, I can't do this. Can't do this. You all, I understand where the grievances come from, but you all are making it worse. And I only listened once, and I figured that's who you saw. I knew who you were talking about, and they go on and on and on and on. And,
they go in like I ain't never heard before. If you think them red pills go in on black women, oh my God, these women
awful.
Ain't no joke. Woo!
It's awful. It is just deplorable. And I just wanted to see what people were talking about. And I heard, and I was like, you all are making it worse. I get you. They are the reaction. They are the reaction. Now, they didn't just spring up. For years of bashing and tearing up, they are the reaction to that. They are the creation of hearing that stuff for years. And
well, look
I
here, y'all.
tell the truth about it. They're the creation. They're the creation of it.
All right, well, guys, I started out tonight saying rest in peace to Joe Madison. He passed away. And then Jermaine wanted me to mention about the soldiers that got killed in Jordan. There was three.
Jordan, yeah.
There was 3 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers that got killed in Jordan, and a lot of people is concerned that Joe Biden might escalate the
Yeah.
conflict with Iran, because this was supposed to be an extremist arm of Iran that shot off the missile that killed these 3 soldiers. I
Yeah,
don't know.
those drones.
I can't. I mean, it's unfortunate, and rest in peace to these soldiers. It's unfortunate that humanity has came to this point to where we have to shoot missiles and kill everybody, and I can't lose
Yeah.
sleep about this stuff no more. These it's crazy that it's grown to this, and the U.S. might get drug into something, and I hope we don't. I
Bigger.
hope,
I
huh?
hope we don't. I know. And Tyrone, it broke my heart when I saw their pictures. I was like, oh no. I mean, even if they were of another race, that was still bad. But
Yeah.
when I saw their pictures, it broke my heart when I saw who it was that they were killed. And like they were saying that the fact is that these are that Iran, they supply them with weapons to fight little this and that. But they're saying that they didn't give them the order to do that. And
Mm.
they're saying that they did that on their own. No, the United States, does not want to get into, they were saying, a hot war with Iran. Iran is twice as big as Iraq. They have more people. They're better militarized than what Iraq. And then I was reading an article. They would say it would take, and then they would have to do a ground invasion. If it, like, just say, if it got to that, they said you would need at least 1 million soldiers for ground invasion. Iran is not Iraq, and you're talking a lot of deaths. And I know that Israel and Netanyahu and them, they want a full-fledged. He wants a full-fledged war with Iraq. I don't want American soldiers dying over in that desert, and I don't want it to get to that. We don't know what Joe Biden is going to do or what the country's going to do, but they're going to strike back. But we don't want a war, a hot war with Iran. No, because
Well,
it's
that's the
not going to
price
be
that
that
this
simple.
country is paying for blindly backing Israel.
Uh huh.
You know,
Yep.
they putting our troops at risk, and this is the cost of what's going on over there with us being so spineless and not standing up to these people and telling them to stop killing civilians and just stop killing people because they're Arab or whatever
Ceasefire.
their motivations are. This is the price that we're paying. We're
Ceasefire.
losing soldiers because of this weakness um, in our country.
Yep.
Well, hold on to that,
I
Aaron.
agree with
Hold
you.
on. This is why we don't have to have a president that mocks Gold Star families. Hello.
I agree. I agree.
Well, I'm not saying that, Joe, but I'm just saying if this thing could have been handled diplomatically at the beginning when Israel started killing all of these civilians and, had them stop just shooting and killing people, it probably could have been died down by now and it wouldn't have escalated to this. Something should have
Yeah, I
happened
know.
initially to where we wouldn't be at this point is my point.
Yeah, I was referring to Trump, who was mocking Gold Star families.
Marcus.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. He would be
So
forward.
at least have a
It would be
president
forward.
that has some sort of empathy for him.
But Joe Biden needs he needs to tell Israel to knock it off, and he needs to try to de-escalate this thing instead of like he did when these
And
soldiers
make
got killed. As the president, he was supposed to make these remarks saying that he was going to respond, but what that is on the world stage is saying the United States is about to get into something because he said there will be a response for killing these 3 soldiers.
But you
So,
know what? Tyrone? I don't think that they're going to outright strike Iran because he's trying to hold. I think Biden smart enough to know that we don't want that. But I do think that they're going to strike the area and those that did that. I don't think they're just going to full on just out and out strike Iran. I hope not. Because the Iranians are saying, we did not order them to do that. And those that did that are saying we did that on our own. We were not ordered. But, I mean, all of that could be lies. Who knows? But when you hear, like, on Fox News, they sitting up there, you need to just shoot some missiles over into Iran. And are you going to be part of the ground invasion that runs up in there and get killed? A war
right.
with Iran is not the same thing as with Iraq. I don't think that I don't think that Biden and the people who are involved in it, the military chiefs, the people at the top, I think because he's been trying to downplay, he has a war with Iran because it's not going to be that simple. So I don't think that they're going to. I don't think that they're going to attack Iran. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I've been following this pretty closely because my stomach sank when I heard this. I was like, oh no. But I don't think that they're going to strike Iran. I don't think so. Hope not. Because we don't need this. And we just don't need this. They're already, the whole Middle East is already inflamed, enraged at what Israel is doing. And if you were to do that, well, it's on and popping. So,
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have these troops over there if it weren't for Israel being stupid and just killing people. They're killing people. They should not be killing all these damn people. I done lost count of how many tens of thousands of people that they've killed, and the United States is over there backing them in this whole freaking genocide. It's crazy.
and giving them cover. And that was another thing about the genocide. The federal court, a couple of days ago, they did a ruling at American federal court. That's what I was going to bring up real quick before we end the show. Hold on. Let me find it.
Is it the one that South Africa was filing a
No,
complaint
not
against?
them.
Mm-hmm.
No, not them. Let me. Federal woman. I'll pull it up right from the judge. Because I just heard this today. Possibly. Possibly.
And these was look like they got on private rank.
Yeah.
Soldiers killed were Specialist Brianna. So she was a specialist. There was a Sergeant Jerome and specialist. There was two E4s and a sergeant.
Yeah, they promoted them posthumously too.
Oh, well, that's how they got
Yeah.
the specialist.
Let me.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
yeah, here I found it. Okay, here we go. I want to read it. Israel campaign also possibly announced a genocide. Okay, here we go. It's Israel's campaign in Gaza possibly amounts to genocide. The U.S. court finds. Federal court in California has ruled that Israel's military campaign in Gaza possibly amounts to a genocide, but dismissed a case aimed at stopping the U.S. military for support in Israel as being outside of the court's jurisdiction. Yeah, of course it's outside of the court's jurisdiction, so there's so much they can do. There are rare cases in which the preferred outcome is inaccessible to the court. This is one of those cases where the United States District Court in Northern District of California ruled. The court is bound by precedent and the division of our coordinate branches of the government to abstain from exercising jurisdiction in this matter. Yet, as the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, has found, it is plausible that Israel's conduct amounts to genocide. The judge in the case, Jeffrey Weiss, said in his ruling in a case brought by the Palestinian human rights groups and individual Palestinians against Joe Biden, and Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, and Lloyd Austin, Defense Secretary. This court implores defendants to examine the results of the unflagging support of the military siege against the Palestinians in Gaza, the ruling said. So this ruling just came out, I think, day before yesterday. And that's along with what's going with the South African case.
Well, see, even in what you just read, they're talking out of both sides of their necks. Genocide is
Yes,
a
they are.
well-defined thing in the Geneva Convention, and Israel is doing that. And your thing said that they could possibly be committing genocides. Either they are or they aren't. I mean, it's crazy.
They know they are. But, you know, this country just seems like APAC got this country all wound and bound up to do whatever it is that they want them to do. And then when you listen to some of the news and media coming out of Israel, some of the cabinet members, and they was just talking blatantly that if there is a war with Iran, the United States can fight that. I'm like, what the hell? What? If y'all want to start a broader war with the United States and Israel, you fight it. You fight it. And then whatever happens to y'all, you fight it. But I mean, they just brazenly saying all these kinds of things. And then you have idiots in our country, which is like the House, and even though they have a sizable number of Congress, mainly Democrats, that has written an open letter to the Biden administration about calling for a ceasefire, that's not enough because you won't vote on it. If
Right.
any real resolution and you all had to vote, you won't vote on it. Well, good, it's an open letter to his administration that you need to call for a ceasefire. He's not listening. The administration, none of you all are listening. The majority of the American citizens want a ceasefire. And in all these other countries around the world, there's some other protesting and things that's going on. They want a ceasefire. But in West, they're not listening to the people. They're doing whatever they're allowing Israel to do whatever they want to do. And that's because of that lobbyist money.
Yeah, I mean, from that angle, I mean, I want Joe Biden to get reelected, but from this angle, he looks weak.
I do too.
He looks weak,
Yeah.
and he don't know what he's doing when it comes to foreign policy and these wars that is going on. To me,
I think he know what he's doing. It's the lobby money. It's the APAC. They all get money from them. That's what it is. He knows what he's doing. But they're gonna go along with it because they act like Israel is this country's only ally in the Middle East with a democracy. That's not a democracy. They are an apartheid state. That is not a democracy. And all that money from APEC that's flowing all in this country, they got a hold of all of our politicians. So, in a sense, they're ruling the United States. And something else I was getting ready to say, but Google would strike the channel if I say it. But they're ruling the United States.
they are.
And other Western countries, they're ruling them. And when you're ruling all of the powerful countries like that, what are you ruling? Don't say it, but you know what you're ruling. If you're ruling all of that, what are you ruling?
Right.
The world.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I don't know.
I don't know.
If by just calling it what it is, they keep saying you're anti-Jew or anti-Semitic or
It's
whatever they saying.
anti-Semitic.
But you just looking at these people have a free pathway to kill tens of thousands of people. They was mad, and I'm not supporting Vladimir Putin. They was mad when Vladimir Putin rode across Ukraine border and started killing up people. But now they don't have a problem with the Jews killing up tens of thousands of young people. They're mainly young people.
Children.
Yeah.
Children and women. Women and children. So, I mean, I don't see how y'all can fix your mouth when they would shoot when Ukraine had shot over in Russia and they had killed some people in the apartment building, and I don't see how anybody in the administration can fix their mouth to say anything about that or to say anything about war crimes as it relates to Russia and the Ukrainian war. I don't think you can fix your mouth to say anything with what's going on in Palestine with the Israeli slaughter of Palestine. I don't see how they could fix their mouth to say anything. And then when they pass that thing, if you're anti-Zionist, then that's anti-Semitic. That's a lie. Zionism is their administration. It's their political. That is what it is. In a sense, the political part of their administration. That is not the. So you can't even be anti. You can be anti-Democrat. You can be anti-Republican. You can be anti-whatever. But if you're anti that, then you are anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. If you say you want a ceasefire, you're anti-Semitic, and you're supporting Hamas. If you say, well, you're gonna kill like over 10,000 children so far, but you're anti-Semitic. You're supporting Hamas. Everything is just crazy. But the good thing about it, more people's eyes have been opened and like, wait a minute. And more people got into what is, what really has been going on for years. We hear that they've been fighting for years, but more people decided to get into to see what it is. Israel is an apartheid state, and they treat those people less than third, fourth class citizens. And what's going on in the West Bank has been atrocious. But our government gives them cover and back it up with our tax dollars. And that's the sad, scary part. They got a hold of all of our politicians. They got them. And when you start hearing, they have different articles or different things that I got into. Certain politicians, the amount of money that they get from HPAC, the amount of money that they get from them, they got to hold them so they can do what they do. They give them a free pass to do whatever they want to do. And Biden looks like he's like 10 years old. And Netanyahu, well, yeah, they told us, but we're going to do this. Well, Biden, we want them to work towards when the war's over for a two-state solution. Netanyahu come out and said they going to be no two-state solution. Biden said, well, you all need to do this. And Netanyahu said, we're going to fight this war however we want to. Just tell Biden to shut the hell up. Just tell them to shut the hell up. We're going to do what they've been. Just shut the hell up. Biden, we'll do whatever we want to do. The whole thing is just crazy. And to be coming up on an election, that's the scary part. But when you hear people say they're not going to vote for Biden because of his stance on this war, but the stupid thing is, it doesn't matter who's president. It would be the same stance. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And if Trump get in there, it's going to be even worse. At least with Biden, we can protest it. Trump get in, you ain't going to be able to protest this. Trump gave them Jerusalem. So, I mean, it will be worse with him. And then when he's talking about, all this deportations. And Muslims, if you're not a natural-born citizen, he don't give a shit if you have a visa or however you over here, he's going to deport you. So you're all going to tell us you're not going to vote for Biden because his stance on that? Well, Trump get in, you all won't be able to be over here to have a stance. And it's going to be much worse. Now, I heard someone say, and it made a lot of sense to me. They was like, it's just awful when it comes to Biden, but that would be any president. They're going to have the same stance as it relates to Israel. But they said the difference between Biden and Trump, at least with Biden, we have another day to protest and to stand up against that. With Trump, you won't. It's going to be the same stance, but you don't have another day to try to protest, to try to fix it. It'll be worse. So people who is incensed at him about this, y'all not really thinking how much worse it would be under Donald Trump. And that's just crazy to me that you would sit back and let Trump get in when it's going to be far worse, and he's going to be talking about deporting people from your community if you're not a citizen. That's the stuff he's saying. So it's just scary. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. I just really hope that this country wake up and realize that first of all, Trump is disqualified from running for president, and then realize that he's a criminal. He's a sexual assault person. Now, I'm not saying that. I don't need to say allegedly because the civil court found that he sexually assaulted that lady, and he got to pay $83 million for defamation because he don't have any discipline. And he's got all these court cases in Georgia that's going on down there. And he stole American secrets and tried to sell them to foreign countries. And then we found out he did make money off of foreign countries, violating the emoluments clause. There's a whole lot of things that's going on with Donald Trump that I don't understand why he's.
Whole bunch.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's the front runner.
Why would you all back him? There was other people getting behind Nikki Haley and I didn't like DeSantis, but I mean, damn, he got all that stuff working against him, and y'all just want to go for the person. And Trump was also found liable for fraud. and they trying to figure out how much money they're gonna take from them from that mess over there in New York. So it's not just a liable for SA. He was found liable for fraud, but them businesses and companies, but they just want to. They're just gonna. Or I don't know. People has really
Yeah,
fallen.
they lost their damn
This
mind.
country,
I don't
yeah,
get
lost
it.
their mind.
I don't. I'm
I
trying to
don't study.
understand it, and I cannot figure it out. But look,
And then
guys,
when
I
I
got to
see
get off
black,
here. It's
yeah, I do too.
I appreciate y'all, Miss Lisa, Miss Lady, Joe. But guys, what y'all can do is y'all can call into the conference. I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to open it up, but YouTube is going to end. I appreciate you guys in the chat room, East Coast, ABC, MJ, Jermaine, and whoever else showed up over there. Appreciate it. But I'll see y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Miss Lisa.
Yeah, yeah. I see you guys. I talk to you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Q&A session is over. All participants are unmuted.